Hey, silly goose, how are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you. Thank you so much for sending me the roses. I appreciate it. Um, I am gonna try to stop drinking as much Dr. Pepper during the day. I drink Dr. Pepper Zero, so I'm not drinking all the sugar and stuff, but also I should just drink more water. So I'm gonna try to do a thing where I drink one at lunch and one at dinner, and the rest of the time, if I'm thirsty, I'm gonna get some goddamn water and drink it. I'm so bad about water. I don't know why.
Some people are, I wouldn't say the word addicted, but they really, really enjoy the carbonation.
I
That's,
think I
I
do.
think maybe that's it. But
But I
I
don't
mostly
like
just drink,
carbonated water.
oh yeah, that sucks. I mostly just drink water, coffee, and tea, including herbal tea too. But yeah, I feel like I'm a lot healthier because of it. And I've just gotten to
Yeah.
the point now where if I do drink something carbonated, my stomach will make all these weird noises now. It'll be like, "Wah, wah, wah, what are you doing to me?"
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I just don't need that much. And I think it's also the caffeine that's in it that I'm like, oh yeah, let's have some more caffeine right now, you know? So I don't know. Django is in the box. Do you want me to bring him up?
Oh, um, only if you want to, Crystal.
Look at Tahir's in the chat going, oof. I mean, why you crash out every time, Django? You crash out on everybody's live, Django. You are definitely unchained for sure. So
He
I
is
don't know.
unchained. You know, funny enough, as soon as we were done with him, he immediately went to Mama Dash's live and crashed out.
I know. I know. Okay. Let's see how it goes this morning.
Why you saying I
Good
crash out when
morning.
I don't crash out?
You
Good
do. I
morning,
see you on
Jenga.
everybody's shows. I see you go from live to live, crashing
Yeah,
out
I
here
only
and
crash
there.
out if there's a reason to crash out, but
Okay.
you get me?
How was your weekend, Django? Did you have a nice weekend?
Yeah, beautiful by the grace of God, the Most High God, Jesus Christ.
Really? What did he do for you this weekend?
All things, everything
What
good
what what,
came from
what
God.
was it? Like what good came this
Yeah,
weekend? Like be specific.
me waking up in the morning and going to sleep and waking up the next day, and then going to sleep again and waking up the next day.
Oh, is he who wakes you up in the morning?
Hallelujah.
So when you're late, is it because he forgot to wake you up on time?
When I'm late for what?
For anything. When you wake up late, so does that mean that God went, oops, I forgot Django this morning. I
When
forgot
I
to wake
wake
him
up
up.
late. I never wake up late, so I don't know what that
Oh,
refers to.
oh,
That was a
lots of
strong
Christians
statement.
wake up late.
Yeah, I don't. I'm talking about me and other
Hmm,
Christians.
I
that's
don't need
good. So
God to
you have
wake me
a
up in the morning. my bladder
yeah.
woke me up this morning.
Okay, so
I know.
tell me, you say God is evil. What's the argument?
The argument is that the God of the Bible tells you what he thinks is evil, and then he still does those things.
Give me an example.
We're going to turn to Proverbs, okay?
Yeah, so Proverbs is poetic. So you're going to list out the seven things God hates.
Yep. Are you going to say he doesn't hate those things?
No, it does.
Okay, so then what's your point about it being poetic? He either hates them or he doesn't. It has nothing to do whether it's poetry.
Yeah, I thought he was going to a different passage, innit? But I know what passage you're going to.
That's good. I'm glad you know what passage I'm going to. It doesn't negate the passage, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
All right. So there are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that hurry to run to evil, a lying witness who testifies falsely, and one who sows discord in a family. And God does all those things.
Yes, another claim that you're making presents the example.
Which one do you want?
You said God does all things, so give me
All
any
of
of them.
those things. Which one of them do you
Yeah,
want
give
to
me
go
any of
over?
them. Any of them.
Well, we know that he has
You
haughty
pick.
eyes. He
Pick any of them.
constantly brags about himself. We can go to Isaiah 45, 5 through 7, if you'd like for that one.
Okay, so
We'll
who's
start
he?
there. I am the Lord, and there is no other besides me. There is no God. I arm you, though you do not know me, so that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is no one besides me. That's haughty, okay? I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form light and darkness. I create and I make weal and create woe. I, the Lord, do all these things. That is haughty. That is braggadocious. That is what he says he hates.
Yeah, so
When you're teacupped.
yeah, so God saying He's the only God that created all the world and everything in it to a people who were clearly going astray and worshipping false idols. So God is making it clear who he is, and you cannot ascribe that type of worship to a false deity. So God saying this is not haunty. God saying this is establishing the truth about who he is.
No, it's him
What do you mean
bragging
no?
that
Do you even know
I'm
who he's
answering
writing?
you.
Who's he
Please,
writing to? Who's he writing to?
we can't talk over each other and have people who are in closed captioning for the hearing impaired be able to understand what
You don't
we're
even
saying. So
know who was Isaiah
we
writing
have to
to.
let each other speak, okay?
Correct. So listen,
So you have to stop talking over me when I
yeah.
speak,
So
okay?
let me finish. Let me finish what I was saying. So since God is talking to a people who are worshiping false gods, and Isaiah is showing these people to come back to the one and only true God, how are you calling that haunty? Like what?
This is what I'm talking about. You crash out every time
How
you
is that
join a
crashing
live. You're
out?
doing it now.
How is that crashing out?
Because if you would let someone talk, I can explain anything. But every time I go to talk, you talk over me, and then you laughing and acting like you've done something it's haughty, frankly, Django. It's
It's
the thing your
haunty.
God hates. Yes, it is. Hey, Rabbi, how are you today?
I'm good. I just heard a haughty laugh, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Grab by it.
So
Grab by it.
weird. Oh, it is haughty because the Bible tells you that even this God, Yahweh, knew that there were other gods. He wasn't even the
Okay,
God
name
Most
those
High.
name
Excuse
name
me,
the
I
other
am
gods. Don't make false
talking.
claims. Don't make
Robin,
false
could
claims.
you please mute him when I speak?
Don't make false claims. Don't make false
Robin, are you a mod
claims.
now? Because I was supposed to make you a mod.
Don't
I
make
deleted
false
a bunch of
Not
people
yet.
to make you a
claims.
mod. Okay, I'm adding you right now.
Okay.
Okay, you should be now, okay? I had to delete people last night because I was like, I want Robin to be a mod, and I have a bunch of mods that, were like when I first started that aren't even
Well,
on
thank you for
TikTok
the
anymore and
honor.
stuff.
I appreciate it.
Oh, he
Wait,
ran.
he ran away.
He
Mm-mm.
ran away because I wouldn't let him talk over me, and I gave you mute powers. That is Django, you guys. I think he did a little better though than he does on most lives. Like his crash out was mild and weak compared to his usual crash outs. Oh, I should play Where Did You Run To? I don't know where it is though. I have to find it. How are you today, Rabbi?
Oh, pretty good.
Go to bed. I don't know how to go to bed. Thank you. Lay down. Okay, sorry about that.
Just writing a
I know,
eulogy
right?
for this afternoon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
That
this
must
person
not be
sounded like
easy.
yeah, especially for this one.
Not a good
This,
person?
questionable. 4 wives, 9 kids.
Oh
We
my
were
goodness.
debating whether or not to bring security to the graveyard, so
Oh,
It'll be
wow.
interesting. We'll see. How y'all doing?
Look at the comments.
It's so funny.
That is funny. I'm doing good. I had a good weekend. I do have an anti-sermon this morning for everybody. Oh, we have enough people in here, so I can go ahead and read it if you like. Today is on Asenath. And so I am going to talk about Asenath today and hopefully do her some justice. Good morning, Godwood. Good morning, sis. How are you? Katie is in the house. That is Mother, and I'm Auntie, so we're sisters. And that's my sister from another mister, I guess. I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and do my sermon then, since we have over 20 people in here. You guys keep tapping the screen, sharing out the live. We're going to learn about Asenath of Egypt today. Here is where she enters. Genesis 41:45. Pharaoh named Joseph Zaphanath-Paneah, and he gave him Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, as his wife. Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. And just like that, she enters the story. Pharaoh names Joseph. Pharaoh elevates Joseph. Pharaoh gives Joseph authority over Egypt. And Pharaoh gives Joseph a woman. Oh, we have a request. Hi, Kyle.
Oh, sorry.
Did you mean to come?
Accidental.
Okay,
Trying to do
no
laundry.
problem. Okay, I'll drop you down. And Kyle never requests up, so she wanted to come up. I wanted to let her up. Okay, sorry. Back to the sermon. Asenath, she is introduced through power, through hierarchy, through structure. She is the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. She is not described by her dreams. She is not described by her personality. She is not described by her faith. She is positioned. Pharaoh did not simply allow this marriage. The text says he gave her. This is not romance. This is not fate. This is political alignment. Joseph's authority over Egypt comes with a bride whose identity is rooted in temple authority. And her name is Asenath. Her name, her goddess, her world. Asenath, who is she? I'm sorry. I don't know how to read this morning. I'm sorry. Who is she before she becomes Joseph's wife, before she becomes the mother of Manasseh and Ephraim, before her body is folded into Israel's tribal structure? Her name is Egyptian. Most scholars connect Asenath to the Egyptian goddess Neith. Let's talk about Neith. Neith is one of the oldest deities in the Egyptian pantheon. Her worship goes back to the pre-dynastic period, before the pyramids, before Egypt became the empire most people imagine. She was especially associated with the city of Sais in the Nile Delta, but she was honored across Egypt, including a major religious center like On, known in Greek as Heliopolis. Neith was a goddess of war. She was depicted carrying crossed arrows and a shield. She was also a goddess of weaving. The loom was one of her sacred symbols: war and weaving, destruction and craft, protection and production. In later theological developments, Neith was described as a primordial goddess, self-generated, existing before many other gods. Some Egyptian hymns describe her as a mother of the sun god Ra, or as being who brought forth creation through wisdom and speech. She was not fringe. She was not superstition. She was establishment religion. Ancient, respectful, powerful. Now imagine being named after her. If Asenath means something like she belongs to Neith or dedicated to Neith, then this is not casual name. This is not a casual name. In the ancient world, names were theological statements. They declared allegiance. They invoked protection. They signaled identity. Children of priestly families were often given Theophoric names that include names that include or reference a deity that was a sign of devotion and status. And Asenath is the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. On, or Heliopolis, was one of the most important religious cities in Egypt. It was a major center of solar worship. The cult of Ra. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my reading today. I'm not okay.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Marvelous.
I read these before I go live too, so that I won't do this when I'm live, but for some reason I have a little issue today. Priests there were not minor clergy. They were intellectual elites, astronomers, theologians, political advisors. Temple complexes controlled land, labor, storage, and ritual life. So when the text says she is the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, it is telling you she was raised in a household saturated with ritual, theology, and power. She would have known the rhythms of the temple life. She would have understood sacred hierarchy. She would have grown up in a world where gods were woven into politics and economics. Being named after Neith in a priestly household means she was not spiritually blank. She was claimed, marked, dedicated. Her identity was not undefined, waiting for a Hebrew man to give it meaning. She came from a civilization that believed itself ancient, ordered, and divinely protected. And the text does not erase that. It does not say she renounced Neith. It does not say she abandoned temple worship. It does not say she changed her name. It leaves her exactly where she stands. Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, named for Neith, raised in the sacred architecture of empire. The political marriage. Genesis 41:45. Pharaoh named Joseph Zaphanath-Paneah, and he gave him Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, as his wife. Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. Let's be clear about what just happened. This was not a love story. This was not divine matchmaking. This was statecraft. Joseph has just interpreted Pharaoh's dreams. Joseph has just been elevated over Egypt's grain supply. Joseph now controls the economic survival of the empire. And then Pharaoh gives him Asenath. In the ancient world, marriage was contract, alliance, consolidation, especially when it involved a priest's daughter from On, the center of solar worship. This is how power stabilizes itself. Joseph is a foreigner, a Hebrew, a former slave. You do not put a foreign slave in charge of your food system without binding him to your elite structures. And that is what this marriage does. By marrying Asenath, Joseph is no longer merely appointed by Pharaoh. He is tied to temple authority. He is tied to priestly lineage. He is tied to religious infrastructure. He is tied to Egypt's sacred power system. This marriage legitimizes him. It quiets suspicion. It strengthens political trust. It embeds him into the ruling class. Asenath is not decoration. She is alliance. She is the bridge between a Hebrew administrator and the religious elite of Egypt. And here's the part that matters for us. The text does not hesitate. It does not warn. It does not say, be careful, Joseph. She is a pagan. It does not frame this as compromise. It presents the marriage as strategic and seamless. When pagan women expand power, they are acceptable. When pagan women threaten power, they become dangerous. And Asenath stands at that intersection. She is not the corruption of the covenant. She is the cement of empire. Every verse she appears in. Let's look at every place the text actually names her. Genesis 41:45. Pharaoh named Joseph Zaphanath-Paneah, and he gave him Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, as his wife. Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. Genesis 41, 50 through 52. To Joseph were born 2 sons before the year of famine came, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph named the firstborn Manasseh, for he said, God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. The name of the second called Ephraim, for God has made me fruitful in the land of affliction. Genesis 46:20. To Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. That is it. 3 references, all in 3 passages. She is identified by her father. She is identified by her priestly lineage. She is identified as the one who bore sons. She is never quoted. She is never described emotionally. She is never evaluated morally. But she is consistently named, and that matters because the text could have erased her. It could have simply said Joseph had sons. It could have absorbed her into silence. But it repeats her name. Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. The repetition keeps her Egyptian, keeps her priestly, keeps her rooted in that world. She is not incidental. She is written into the genealogy, and through Manasseh and Ephraim, her blood becomes tribal memory. The mother of 2 tribes of Israel is named for an Egyptian goddess, and the text does not flinch. When later tradition gets nervous. Now watch what happens centuries later. Because Genesis leaves her Egyptian. But later Jewish tradition begins to wrestle with that fact. How can the mother of 2 tribes of Israel be the daughter of a pagan priest? And this is where Midrash steps in. In Genesis Rabbah 73:13, also called Bereshit Rabbah, a rabbinic collection of interpretations on Genesis, a tradition appears connecting Asenath to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. The idea develops like this. After the episode of Shechem in Genesis 34, Dinah becomes pregnant. She gives birth. The child is Asenath. She is then sent away and eventually raised in Egypt into the household of Potipharah. Other later traditions include Pirkei Derabi Eleazar.
Derabi Ellis.
Thank you. Chapter 38 echo versions of this idea that Asenath was Jacob's granddaughter, not truly Egyptian by blood. In some retellings, Jacob places a golden amulet around the infant's neck, identifying her lineage before she is sent away. Notice what this does? If Asenath is secretly the daughter of Dinah, then she is not a pagan priest's daughter in essence. She is covenant blood, Israelite lineage, family. The tension disappears. No foreign matriarch, no priest of Ra problems, no theological discomfort about tribal origins. Now, to be clear, none of this is in Genesis. Genesis 41 and 46 never hint at this. The biblical text never says she is Dinah's child. It consistently calls her the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. So what are we seeing? We are seeing later communities doing theology. Midrash is not random imagination. It is interpretive response. It fills gaps. It resolves tensions. It protects identity. The rabbis who preserved these traditions were not ignorant of the problem. They felt it, which means the discomfort around Asenath is not modern, it is ancient. And instead of erasing her name, they reclassified her blood. The move tells us something powerful. The original text was comfortable naming her Egyptian. Later generations were less comfortable with that reality. Why Christianity needs her to be pagan. When Christianity reads the story, Joseph becomes more than a patriarch. He becomes a type of Christ, rejected by his brothers, suffers unjustly, descends before rising, saves the world through suffering. That parallel is preached constantly. And if Joseph is a shadow of Christ, then Asenath must also mean something. Here is where it becomes important. For Christian theology, it is not a problem that she is a pagan. It is perfect because she becomes a symbol of the Gentile bride. Joseph marries a foreign woman. Christ marries the church. In Christian theology, the church is made up of former pagans, former idolaters, former outsiders, people who did not worship the God of Israel. So Asenath, the Egyptian priest's daughter, becomes a symbol of the fallen world. She represents the nations, the ones outside covenant, the ones who worship other gods, the ones who must be brought in. In this reading, her pagan identity is not erased. It is redeemed. Joseph does not become contaminated by her. She becomes transformed by him. And that fits Christian narrative perfectly. Christ redeems the pagan world. Christ purifies the outsider. Christ takes a bride from among the nations. So for Christians, it is actually necessary that she is not Israelite. Her foreignness fuels the theology, but notice what happens. She is still not allowed to remain simply Egyptian. She must represent something. She must become metaphor. She must become redeemed allegory. Her lived identity disappears again, this time into Christian symbolism. Now step back earlier. Before Christian allegory, before rabbinic smoothing, Second Temple expansion, Joseph and Asenath. During Second Temple period, a Jewish text appears called Joseph and Asenath. It likely dates between 200 BCE and 200 CE. It survives in Greek manuscripts. And this text cannot tolerate the silence of Genesis. In Joseph and Asenath is portrayed as proud and devoted to idols. Joseph refuses to kiss her, refuses to unite with her because she worships other gods. She weeps, she fasts, she destroys her idols, she renounces her gods. An angelic figure appears. She is symbolically reborn. Only after conversion does Joseph accept her. This Second Temple imagination already tightens the boundaries. Genesis leaves her Egyptian. This later text insists she must repent. So whether through Christian typology or Jewish Second Temple storytelling, her pagan identity cannot remain unresolved. It must either be secretly Israelite, converted, or allegory. Ambiguity becomes intolerable. And that tightening, that increasing discomfort with her simply being who she was, tells us something about how theology evolves. The fracture. Now, this is where it breaks open. Because many Christians are taught something very clear, or at least this is what they tell us out here on the TikTok streets. They tell us that paganism is evil. They tell us that idolaters are corrupt. They tell us that mixing with nations brought judgment. They tell us that entire peoples, Amalekites, Canaanites, had to be wiped out. That their babies' heads were dashed against the rocks, that those children would have grown up to be evil. That evil had to be eradicated before it spread. That God's moral standards never change. That God hates idolatry. That purity must be protected at all costs. And yet here, at the foundation of the story, Joseph, the righteous patriarch, marries Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, named for Neith, raised in temple culture. And the text does not panic, no warning, no divine rebuke, no narrative crisis. And this is not an isolated case. Abraham takes Hagar, an Egyptian. Judah fathers children with Tamar, a Canaanite. Moses marries Zipporah, a Midianite. Again and again, the fathers of this religion marry women from outside Israel, and the covenant does not collapse. Lightning does not strike, the lineage does not dissolve. So if pagan blood contaminates covenant purity, then Manasseh and Ephraim are compromised from birth. But they are not treated that way. They become tribes, they receive blessings, they inherit land. So what changed? Because later in text, the boundaries tighten. Intermarriage becomes threat. Foreign women become danger. Supremacy language hardens. But here at the root, marrying into a pagan household is not presented as corruption. It is presented as strategy, as alliance, as consolidation, as power. And that is the fracture. When pagan women expand empire, they are acceptable. When pagan women threaten religious control, they are dangerous. So maybe the issue was never paganism. Maybe the issue was power. What she wants to say. When I'm writing these sermons, and I've said this before, it's a lot of grief work. The deeper I research the women I'm going to speak about, the more I realize how often this religion diminishes them, absorbed them, used them, or left them half-formed on the page. And that's painful. It's painful to come to terms with that over and over again. You get to the next woman and there's barely any information, no dialogue, no inner world, sometimes no backstory, sometimes not even a name. And I cannot stand up here week after week and say, today's sermon is about erasure. Today's sermon is about silence. Today's sermon is about another woman without a voice, because that would be boring. And more than that, it would be a disservice. My goal is not to center the absence. My goal is to decenter men and bring the women forward. So I have to dig deeper, not just into the text, not just into scholarship, not just into history. I have to dig into what it feels like to be a woman inside systems that write you in as secondary. And I have to ask myself, if I could go back in time, if these women were real flesh and blood people, what would they want to tell us? That's not always easy. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's heavy. Sometimes it's grief layered on grief. But with Asenath, I don't hear silence. I hear something sharper. I think she would say this: you built your religion on women like me. You built your tribes through my body. You stabilized your empire through my marriage. You inherited land through my sons. And then centuries later, you told women like me we were evil. You told women like me that our gods were demons. You told women like me that we are corrupt. You told women like me that we should be eradicated. But in the beginning, you needed us. Not because we converted, not because we erased ourselves, not because we dissolved into your God, but because alliance mattered more than purity. Power mattered more than ideology. Survival mattered more than supremacy rhetoric. Asenath stands at the foundation of this story as proof that pagan women were not the threat they later became. She exposes something. The boundaries were not always this tight. The hatred was not always this loud. The supremacy was not always this rigid. That came later. And if we are called dangerous today, it is not because we worship differently. It is because we are no longer useful. We are no longer silent. We are no longer compliant. We are no longer property. Asenath does not stand in this story as corruption. She stands as contradiction. I see it. Do you? When theology leaves the page, this idea that certain women are spiritually dangerous did not stay inside Scripture. It left the page. In 1847, Heinrich Kramer published a Latin manual called Malleus Maleficarum, meaning hammer of witches.
Malleus
I'm sorry, I
Maleficarum.
butchered that. Thank you. It means hammer of witches. This is not a devotional book. It was a procedural guide of identifying, interrogating, and prosecuting alleged witches. The text argued that women were more susceptible to demonic influence, more carnal, more morally unstable, more likely to enter into pacts with the devil. It framed the female body as spiritually suspicious. And then it outlined methods. Women accused of witchcraft were stripped naked. Their bodies were shaved. Their genitals were examined. Every inch of their skin was searched for so-called devil's marks, blemishes, or insensitive spots believed to be evidence of a pact with Satan. These examinations were conducted by male authorities. They were invasive. They were humiliating. They were sexualized. Under the authority of witch hunting courts, women were subjugated to sexual assault during interrogations. There are documented cases from European witch trials in which women were raped or sexually violated under the pretext of identifying or expelling demonic influence. The logic was simple and monstrous. If demons could inhabit the body, then the body could be handled, probed, penetrated, violated in the name of exposing evil. Torture was permitted if confession did not come quickly. Strappado, suspension of the arms, thumb screws, crushing devices, beatings, sleep deprivation. Under torture, women confessed to impossible acts, flying, shape-shifting, sexual intercourse with demons, because pain will make a human being say anything. Between the 15th and the 18th centuries, tens of thousands of people were executed across Europe during the witch hunts. The majority of the accused and executed were women, not witches. Women, widows, midwives, healers, women who inherited property, women without male protection, women who were socially inconvenient. In 1692 in Salem, Massachusetts, religious panic and communal fear led to the execution of 19 people by hanging. The overwhelmingly majority of the accused were women. No witches died in Salem. Women died. The accusation of spiritual corruption made violence righteous. Once a woman was declared spiritually dangerous, her body became evidence. Once her body became evidence, it became disposable. Theology shaped imagination, imagination shaped procedure, procedure shaped bodies. Asenath stands at the beginning of a story where a pagan priest's daughter is not yet framed as existential threat, but history shows what can happen when that framing hardens. Pagan woman becomes accusation. Accusation becomes interrogation. Interrogation becomes violation. Violation becomes execution. Ideas do not stay ideas. They become manuals. They become courtrooms. They become graves. What pagan really means. Before we go any further, we need to talk about that word pagan, because that word gets thrown at women like a weapon. The word pagan comes from the Latin paganus, which originally meant villager or civilian. It referred to people outside the Roman military or outside the urban elite religious structure. Over time, as Christianity became institutionally powerful inside the Roman Empire, pagan became the label for anyone who did not convert. It did not originally mean evil. It did not originally mean demonic. It did not originally mean morally corrupt. It meant not us. But in Christian theology, especially as it developed into state power, pagan became loaded. It became idolater, heathen, God-hater, morally depraved, sexually unrestrained, spiritually dangerous. And here's the shift that matters. Early Hebrew culture was not built on the same purity panic that later Christian systems developed. Ancient Israel was not born in isolation. It interacted, it intermarried, it negotiated. It existed inside a polytheistic world. The later obsession with sexual purity, female submission, and rigid boundary control is far more shaped by later Christian theology than by early Israelite practice. Purity culture, as many of us experienced it, the obsession with women's bodies, with modesty, with virginity, with submission, with unequally yoked, with being set apart. That timing comes much later, and when purity becomes identity, women's bodies become battleground. Because if you believe moral contamination spreads through women, through sexuality, through reproduction, through autonomy, then controlling women becomes holy work. And that ideology does not stay theological, it becomes legislative. In recent years, lawmakers in multiple U.S. states have introduced bills that would classify abortion as homicide. Some proposals would allow prosecutors to pursue the death penalty in abortion cases under existing capital punishment statutes. That's not abstract. That is not medieval. That is now. You can argue about intent, you can debate interpretation, but the structure is clear. When a woman's body is defined as a moral crime scene, the state becomes enforcer. Just like they did when they used the hammer of witches, just like they did during the Salem witch trials, lawmakers today want to use their power to eradicate the pagan woman. When religious ideology defines certain women as corrupt, dangerous, or out of order, law can follow. And you may ask, what does that have to do with Asenath? It has everything to do with her. Because she shows us something foundational. There was a time when so-called pagan women were acceptable. There was a time when alliance mattered more than purity rhetoric. There was a time when her body was not framed as contamination. The move from pagan woman is useful to pagan woman must be controlled is not accidental, is ideological evolution. And when ideology evolves toward control, women feel it first. So when women today are labeled pagan, rebellious, unsubmissive, corrupt, understand the weight of that word. It has been used before and it has done harm before. And that harm was never theoretical. It was embodied. We were always here. So let's end where we began with her, Asenath, the Egyptian priest's daughter, named for Neith, married into Israel, mother of tribes. She did not disappear. She was not erased. She was not absorbed. Her blood runs through the very structure of the covenant story. And that means something, because if the foundation includes a woman like her, then the narrative that pagan women are outside, dangerous, contaminating must be re-examined. We were never outside. We were always in the story. We were always part of the structure. We were always woven into the inheritance. The difference is not holiness. The difference is usefulness. When women secure power, they are welcomed. When women refuse control, they are labeled dangerous. Asenath stands at the beginning not as corruption, not as threat, but as proof. Proof that the lines were not always drawn the way they are drawn now. Proof that purity rhetoric evolved. Proof that fear is often constructed. And here is what matters for us. You are not a witch. You are not contaminated. You are not an existential threat to the divine. You are a thinking, breathing, autonomous human being. If they call you pagan, remember, so was she. And the covenant did not collapse. The tribes did not fall apart. God did not strike her down. The story kept moving, and so shall we. She was saved because she had power. Let me come back to her. Asenath, the Egyptian priest's daughter, named for Neith, raised in temple authority, married into Israel. The only reason she was acceptable is because she came with power. She came with influence. She came with political leverage. She came with priestly backing. She strengthened the system. That is why it was okay. Not because paganism was harmless. Not because idol worship didn't matter. Not because purity was flexible. It was okay because she increased their power. And that is the pattern. When a woman strengthens the structure, she is welcomed. When a woman does not serve the structure, she is disposable. When a woman challenges the structure, she becomes dangerous. The shift from pagan woman is useful to pagan woman must be eradicated is not about holiness. It is about control. Religious men only truly care about power and influence. Any woman who cannot give them that is disposable. They attack women who threaten it. And the ones who threaten it are the ones who think, the ones who educate themselves, the ones who refuse submission, the ones who stop believing the story handed to them. That is when pagan becomes insult. That is when witch becomes accusation. That is when immoral becomes justification. Asenath was different from us in one way. She had leverage. She had status, she had backing, she had usefulness. We are dangerous because we are not useful. We do not kneel, we do not conform, we do not center their authority. So maybe this is what she would say. Be dangerous. Invoke Neith. Not because you worship her, not because of what she represents. Neith was a goddess of wisdom, a goddess of weaving, a goddess of creation, ancient, self-originating, not dependent on male validation. Wisdom is dangerous. Critical thinking is dangerous. Education is dangerous. Refusing a patriarchal narrative is dangerous. And that kind of danger is sacred. I don't believe in gods, I don't believe in goddesses, but if I am choosing attributes, I will take wisdom over obedience. I will take strength over submission. I will take independence over divine hierarchy. As it stands in the genealogy as proof, the powerful pagan women were always part of the foundation. They were tolerated when useful, feared when free. So be free. Be educated. Be questioning. Be strong. Be exactly what they warn against. And that's today's anti-sermon.
Woo!
I don't know what that means, Rabbi. I don't know what that, you're coming up. Okay, good. I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
I'm gonna translate it as like straight up strength, like just like way to go, like yeah, it's awesome. Sorry,
Thank
I'm
you.
like having to do these emails, but that was tremendous.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Are you kidding?
That really means a lot to me. That means a lot to me.
I've said it like a dozen times. I can't wait for you to make a book out of this.
Well, I'm making the podcast out. It is out. It's Anti-Sermons, AUNTIE. So if you miss any, you can listen to me anywhere you listen to podcasts. And yeah, and make sure if you do, go give me a review. I need some 5-star reviews from you guys. We did have a couple people in the box. Let's see if we still do. We do. Let's bring up
Ooh,
a
already.
couple people real quick.
I just wanted to say that was a very interesting sermon.
Thank
What I
you.
found particularly interesting about it is how the times changed, where there was no issue originally with her being of Egyptian origin, but later they had to do apologetics for it. It's so fascinating to think about. I also think about Hagar and her coming from a royal Egyptian background, and
Yeah.
whenever she's made into a slave, they don't really care. But because it's Joseph's wife and she's going to be the mother of all these different tribes, well, now we need to put some sugar and spice on that story.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And that was the first. Okay, so when I'm researching, I first go find out who the woman is, where she is in the Bible. Then I look up like what do rabbis say about her? What do pastors say about her? And is there any extra biblical, teachings about her or whatever? And in doing this, that was the very first thing that I was like, wait a minute. Why is it that week after week people come up here and tell us, don't you realize what these kids would have grown into? They would have been evil because they didn't worship Yahweh. They worshiped other gods. And I'm like, wait a minute. Joseph's wife literally is a priest's daughter. She worshiped other gods. She is named for a goddess that is not, and so I needed to know why. Why was she different? And then I found out, well, she was different because it was taught different at the beginning, and it evolved the way she was taught over time. And that was just really striking to me too. Hey, Jerry, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
I
I
Did
just
you have
wonder.
a good week?
I did. I did. I just caught the last 5 minutes of your um, freaking awesome. Uh, I don't even
Anti-sermon?
know. Yeah, I couldn't say it without crying. There's still a lake in Michigan where that still exists today, where they drown women that were considered witches, and some of them survived, and they would still chase them down. And if you survived, you were really, supposedly a witch, and if you died, you were a witch for sure. I mean, it was lose-lose situation.
I
um,
know.
but how brave of them to figure out a way to survive and still try to escape. It just shows how strong we are.
Absolutely.
And I have a shirt that says they didn't burn witches, they burned women. And I love
Yep.
wearing it. So thank you for your research and
Absolutely.
this very unique commentary to show us and help us to think. We don't think enough.
Yeah, I think that we need to start asking the questions, especially when we're going through and we're reading these stories about these women, why their stories were told, how they were told, who benefited, because once we see who benefited from the narrative that they are given or the lack thereof, then we can see like what we can really learn from them.
Right, and the progression that you explained was, how this instilled fear in the society. So there was just more and more fear to be uh, a strong woman, and you were a target once you were a widower and you had some power, you had some land, or maybe you had some wealth that you inherited. I just don't understand why that's viewed as evil, because women hold the world together. We nurture, we take care of all the little things.
Yeah.
We deliver the babies. I mean, we work and deliver the babies and then go back to work.
Yeah.
I had all my children at home, and the midwife would tell me that she would say, yes, it's going to be hard, but there are women that would work in the fields, have their babies in the fields, and still go back to work the next day. Like, they were hardcore laborers, and they weren't just disposable.
No.
And
You said something though, Jerry. Oh, I don't want to interrupt that.
no, fine, you're fine.
You said something though that I wanted to bring up. How a lot of these women that were unalived, there was usually some sort of a lot of them, not all of them. If they inherited some sort of land um, from like a loved one passing away, or let's say that their husband wasn't very well liked in town, or maybe there was just a conniving relative. A go-to that people used to do back then was let's intentionally start rumors and gossip about this person participating in witchcraft so that we can get them
Mm-hmm.
unalive and then steal their inheritance. Or we can buy their land at
Absolutely.
a cheaper price. We can
They did
take
that
what they want.
in the Hammer of Witches. There's definitely, uh, there's definitely times where they did that. I'm sure they did it during, other times as well, but we're disposable to
Yeah,
them.
that's the word, disposable. It's a shame. It's a real shame.
Rabbi, you wanted to say something. What were you going to say?
Yes, I'm so sorry that I'm like back and forth. I'm listening the whole time.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Like first of all, it's not okay because like this is an important thing and it's important. Um, but the did you first of all did you find that it's a Hapax legomenon? I can never pronounce that word. That her name is the only time that combination of words appears. Like it's the
No,
only
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Um, so that's a pretty interesting factoid. And then um, uh, Potiphar is like this goes to your point about how like like we don't really know like is she like who she really is sort of thing because Potiphar is not actually a person even though it's called a person or it's kind of labeled as a person in reality it's a title the Poti of Par the Poti of Paro of Pharaoh it's Pharaoh's Poti and so Potiphar's wife by the way is the same person that sort of attacked Joseph and got him sent to prison in the first place
Right,
right.
right.
And so, what a weird sort of a graduate moment, where
Yeah.
like Dustin Hoffman is chasing after Mrs. Robinson, Potiphar's wife, and then ends up uh, married to the daughter. But that's not exactly what happens in The Graduate. It's actually kind of the opposite, really.
I was
Yeah.
like, wait, did Dustin Hoffman marry the daughter in that?
No,
Okay.
no, he did not. Yeah. Anyway, that was. But I think, like, to your point, um, just overarching, like, um, what a, gut check to, like, if you don't have anything to stand on, you use violence and you use threats and you use coercion and you make up lies and calumnies against people. That's what you do. Like, if you don't have anything, then you have to lie in order to get your way. So. That's the sort of peek behind the curtain, I think, that you
Yeah.
provided. Yeah.
And because I don't know, like it just really got it gets to me every time, every single time I do a sermon. I will say I get a little depressed, I get angry, I don't know, it's just really hard that I spent my life believing that this God loved me and searching through it right now through every woman and not seeing myself like
And in reality, you should have been taught that you can love yourself and you don't need this invisible being to come and fix you.
hey Bree. And like I feel sad though that we don't know their stories. Like pretend with me for a minute that these are real people, okay? Like because I don't know, like it seems like she would have had a real cool story, right? Like she grew up in a temple and she was the daughter of a priest. That's pretty high up. Like that's not, and so she saw like the workings of the temple. She probably heard things and saw things, and I don't know, it would have been nice to know more about her, and we can't go back now and know more about these women, and then that makes me sad, and I feel robbed, and that makes me feel angry, and it makes me feel hurt.
Same. But it the only, I guess, thing is that it should empower us to understand and know as best we can, our worth, because that's how she became, who she was, because she did understand her worth and how powerful she was.
Yeah.
And just imagine a world where we all realized what our true worth is, you know, and that's what I get out of it, and it does make me incredibly sad to know that they tried to erase so many women's stories and their ripple effect on the world. And it
Yeah,
is a grieving
absolutely.
process. Yeah. You know, it's like a grieving process for each story that we learn about, but it's not forgotten, and that's what is so beautiful about what you're doing. It's a real artwork, is what you're doing.
Thank you. It feel. Hey, La Paquette. Hey, D. Good to see you too. KJ, welcome in. Ken, welcome in. I am glad I'm doing it. It is like I said, it is a lot of grief work, but I think I needed to. I think I always talk about how I don't want to be up here so angry at Christians all the time. Like, I don't really want to. I would love to channel like Daniel and just be up here and be so sweet and so kind. But also, they don't talk to me the way they talk to Daniel, so that's a whole different issue, you know. But I think that in going through these women and helping tell their stories the best way I can, it's helping me get rid of, well, I can't say, because sometimes it brings it out, to be frank. I don't know. It's helping me work through it, though, if that makes sense. It's helping me work through those emotions.
Yeah, and I guess with Daniel, it's his composure, his just willingness to stay calm and just keep fighting for the truth. And he just looks for different avenues and different strategies with every conversation. He looks for any kind of keywords that they bring out, and he like tries to have, hang on.
He had a guy yesterday say he would unalive his own child if God told him
Right.
to. And then he said, I hope that doesn't sound weird.
No, that sounds beyond weird. That's very
Yeah.
fucked up. You should go on a list. Like,
Ca-
what?
Crystal, do you think this is I'm going to ask it. It might be an inappropriate question. I don't know. Um, the So when I hear these, I don't hear these as anti-sermons. To me, they would
Mm-hmm.
absolutely fly in my synagogue as a perfectly normal sermon on a Friday night, and not in any sort of edge or any way, but like, what if your religion looked like this, like when you were growing up? Like, what if it looked like this? And like, how would that shift or change? I don't know. And it's not like I'm not asking like a what if sort of thing, but like to me, it's just like, this is just a sermon. I'm not saying just a sermon, it's an important sermon, but
No,
like,
I
there's
know what you
nothing.
mean.
Yeah, okay. All right. I just like,
But for a Christian, it is definitely an anti-sermon because but maybe for a Jewish person, it's not, because I'm just like, I've had arguments before because people will say, well, you're interpreting, you know, what you're reading or whatever. And I tell them, well, rabbis have done that through midrash
as you
for
say,
an
along with
eternity
everybody
now.
else, you know?
Why am I not allowed to have some midrash? Nothing I'm saying is wrong. Like, I'm literally not saying that this is what the text says. I'm saying like that this is what the text doesn't say, and why doesn't it say it? And can we look at reasons why it might be leaning us one way or the other? And how have people used it? I'm just pointing out what's there and what I see as a woman now, you know? And I think that that's nothing different than what, actually, I think it's a little different because I'm not sitting here saying, hey, maybe she's Dina's daughter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not making up entire fabricated stories about who she could be. I'm not doing that, you know? I'm just explaining like what I see the text did throughout history and how we can use it today to teach us something maybe a little bit more about who we are as women.
Just as a aside, the reason that they're connecting her to Dina's daughter is because that's the
Mhm.
next story. Like it's a departure from the
Oh,
Joseph story to go tell the Tamar and Judah story, and then back. Yeah. Anyway, um, oh man, yeah, boy, oh boy.
and I think I try to be very fair to what um, what has been taught about these women in the different texts that I
That's
find. You know,
that's exactly what I was going to say. Thank you for reminding. Like you are doing, you're in conversation with the other midrash and like the other commentaries. Like it's not like you're just like, here's what I think. Bam, it's on the page.
yeah, exactly. I'm trying to look at all of it. I even like try to look at anything. Like if there's apocrypha about these women, or if it's in the Ethiopian Bible and the Book of Jubilees or something, I want to know because well, one, I didn't know that the women of Noah's Ark had names in the Ethiopian Bible, and that was really cool to me, you know. And so I don't know. I just want to make sure I include anything that I can find about these women.
Well, since we're on that topic, then I thought I might say that there's an apocrypha source that I've heard of in which Dinah is Job's wife, and so if
Yes.
her lineage comes from Dinah, I mean, like, I just thought I would include that. Like, that might be a little interesting tidbit of information.
Yeah, I don't know that they're saying that she is Dinah and Job's daughter, though. I think that they're saying she's Dinah and Shechem's daughter. I'm not sure. They don't really say who the father is when they're talking about that, at least not what I read. So, but I don't think that those two midrashes cross paths, so to speak. Hey, Bree, how are you today?
Hello, my darling. I am well. How are you?
Doing well. Good to see you. I hope you had a good weekend.
It was a long weekend. My husband was supposed to go to Dubai on Saturday, and we all know what
Oh my
happened.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so glad he didn't go though. He did
Yeah,
not.
we've been dealing with trying to get everything canceled and refunds and all the things pretty much all weekend. So it's been a
Mm-hmm.
fun weekend.
Yeah.
But I did. I came up actually, if you don't mind backtracking a little bit, because you were talking about like how you want to be like eminent Daniel a little bit more and like his demeanor and stuff. I've actually
Yeah.
had that conversation with him. And even he said that it's different for the women on this space than it is for the men. It's going to look differently on how we react to people because of how our comments react to us. And I just thought that was like really necessary to hear, to be honest. Because I'm sure you
Yeah.
two, like, we get attacked so much more than some of the guys do for saying the exact same
Yes.
thing. If you know what I
Exact
mean.
same thing. It's true. And I mean, I just want to be where I don't crash out as much because sometimes, like, and I realize that I don't also have some of the skills that these other people have. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have a short fuse sometimes and I can't. Like, when I heard that guy say, like, I would kill my own kid if God asked me to, I just.
That was crazy. I was just sitting there, elevated as fuck, coloring,
Me too.
listening to Daniel, and he said that, and I looked at my phone so fast. I was like, "What?"
And the way that Daniel can just sit there and go,
Okay.
and I'm thinking, I would just fucking lose my
I would have crashed
mind.
out. I would have crashed out so bad.
You know he wouldn't have killed his. He wouldn't have unalived his own child for that, for any reason whatsoever.
But no,
just
that's
saying
what
that.
Daniel. No, I don't know that he wouldn't. That's the problem. And Daniel pointed that out to him. He said, "You cannot tell me that you know the difference between God's voice and Satan's voice. Because if Satan is the greatest deceiver and you believe that, how do you know Satan wouldn't deceive you into being like sounding like God's voice? So you think it's God telling you, but it's Satan telling you. Do you not understand the problem with what you're saying in general? Obviously, he said it much calmer than I just did. But no, that is why people kill their children in the name of God, Jerry, is because they literally think they are hearing God's voice.
We see it all the time.
That's true. There's that lady. Yeah, that lady that drove her kids into the lake when she drowned them, and she did say that God told her to do that.
Yeah.
So it does still happen. It's just very true. I guess it's just wishful thinking that I'm just hoping that he would never really mean that he would do that.
Well, and I think the problem we have is a lot of the times, even Christians write people that actually do that off as being schizophrenic or some other form of like mental disability or whatever. They don't acknowledge that there are a ton of people that actually truly believe that. And yeah, maybe he did hear a voice. Maybe they are actually like insane. But that doesn't change that they had a fundamental belief to begin with, and they're just capitalizing on that, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And the thing is that that's what a lot of family annihilators do is, okay, so let's remember that many of them believe that children have automatic pass to heaven. So these parents who are very religious, they have a type of psychosis, yes, but it's religious psychosis. And they think my children growing up in this world might not stand a chance against evil, so it is better that I unalive them all right now, send them straight to heaven, and that's the best thing. And I think God wants me to do that. That's what God wants.
Wow.
And so they do it.
Wow.
It's such a dangerous way to think, and I don't know. I don't have the patience that Daniel does when they say shit like that. I just want to go, what the fuck did you just say? I can't do it.
Sorry if you just heard that squeaking. I had to open a gate because I'm.
That's okay. It sounded like me.
I'm visiting the farm, and if you want, I'll turn my camera on so you can see my dairy cows.
Oh yeah, do that, and I will be right back. I'm gonna get a drink, and you show the cows, and then maybe one of y'all could do a commercial for me. I'm gonna expand you. Show your cows. I'm gonna mute up for a minute.
All right, okay, I'll be over there in a second. Oh, they're so cute. Are you gonna do the commercial for her?
Oh, I can if you need me. Hello, everybody. Please continue to tap your screen, send your gifts. Right now, Crystal has 2 goals going for her. Of course, we need to get her a new laptop that will enhance our streaming performance, both on TikTok and on YouTube and on whatever future platforms Crystal decides that she wants to multi-stream on. So if you would please send your donations to your atheist brothers and sisters on this panel, that would be excellent. Additionally, Crystal has ADHD, and one of the things that would um, help improve her auntie sermons is if we could afford to get her a bookmark. She seems to be always losing her place in that Bible. So, if you would be so kind just to send your donations, we will be able to hopefully get her a really nice bookmark, maybe one with some tassels or like some sort of adornment on it. That would be fabulous. So yeah, please continue to gift. Please remember to tap. And if you're broke as a joke like me, you could always just tap and send out the live stream to all corners of the internet everywhere. It is very much appreciated. Please and thank you. Are you close to your cows?
Can you see them?
No, your screen's black actually.
Is it black? Okay. Let's see. How do I do it? I can see them on my screen.
Robin, you're hilarious.
I didn't know you could hear everything I said.
Oh, you went small again. Let me.
Can you see them now?
Yeah, we can now.
I can see them
Okay.
now, yeah.
They're just little
Wow, you've got
babies.
a lot of
Oh
cows.
my God,
Oh,
moo cows.
I
oh,
just
cute.
leased this part of the land to this farmer that raises these little babies, and this is a new herd. So I just had to come down here and see them real quick.
Yeah, I thought they all looked kind of small and youthful looking. That explains a lot. They're a bunch of babies.
Yep, they're only about 3 weeks old. They get big fast, but they'll just live on a dairy farm.
Very
If I
sweet.
go in there, I'm gonna get poop all over my shoes, but they'll come up to me and let me pet them if I go in there. I don't have my farm boots on yet. Come here.
They're people shy. They're like, I don't trust them.
Well, my dog's right here, so they're kind of just looking at her like, is she okay? Is she gonna get us? Okay,
Oh,
now they're trying
gotcha.
to. Yeah, there's my dog. Zelda, be
You got a
nice.
cute dog too.
Yeah, just live with one dog, and then I come down here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could live in the country. This is about 2 hours from where I actually live. Ugh, they're just so cute. And they're all black and white except that one is brown and white.
Yep, that's the one that's gonna make chocolate milk. Hmm.
Yeah.
My kids
You're
are utterly convinced of that fact.
When I
That's so
played
cute.
Farmville, that I loved it when my cows would make chocolate and strawberry milk and all kinds of shit.
When my dad was alive, he had, just a regular herd of cows. He didn't raise dairy cows, and he built this big cooling shed. Can you see the roof right here? Because it would get so hot out here, and they would all congregate under this cooling shed. And it really is cool underneath it. It's just a tin roof.
they're so cute.
This old barn right here, I think it was built in like 1930. And they just keep hay in it.
Little piece of
Well, thank
history.
you for sharing that with us. How do I
Yes,
You're
thank
make
you.
me
That was
big
very cute.
again?
You're
Oh, there we
welcome.
go.
How do I turn it off? Oh, okay. Here we go.
Got it. You
Glad you
guys,
liked my
if you're
improv commercial.
I loved it. It was hilarious. And you want to know something really funny? Robin knows me, okay, y'all. I went back and added all the chapters to all the non-believers Bible study the other night. I literally skipped 2 chapters, and I'm not going back to do it because I didn't know where I was in the Bible study. So you'll never know which 2 I skipped, but I'm not going back. But I do need a bookmark, you guys. Robin's not wrong.
Ironically enough, I'm coloring myself a bookmark right now because I also need a bookmark.
I could just probably make one, huh? Like I did when I was a kid. You know, that would probably be something I could do.
My
Jared
Are
was
husband
talking
bought
those
me
about
these
not wanting to
cows?
step
really
in. Jared was talking about not
Wait,
wanting to
what?
step in the cow poop, and I'm trying to clean up cat puke off the floor. Oh, these cats, they're the bane. I love them, but they stress me out.
Yes.
My husband bought me these really cool bookmarks where they're colorable and each of them have a quote from a different story on it.
Oh, that's cool. If you are a believer of the God of the Bible and you want to come up and talk today, we're talking about how God is evil. I base this on the fact that God tells you in the Bible what he thinks is evil, and then he does the things that he says is evil. I don't subscribe to divine command theory, and if that's what you subscribe to, you might as well not even come up, because that's a boring conversation. If you just think God could do anything and therefore it's good, there's no, go ahead. You think that's a weird thought. I don't know. I always think people who think that, they just sound like lemmings. You know what I mean? Like they would follow anything off a cliff. Why are you crying? Is that what you believe? Are you crying because you believe that and you wanted to come up and talk? Happy Monday, Slice. Good to see you. Welcome in, Amelia.
I didn't get to share this with you earlier, Crystal. I wanted to share my Django impression.
Oh, yeah.
What's your proof, dog? You ain't got no proof, dog. That's all I got. But that's all he says. He's always like, what's your proof?
Right?
What's your evidence? What's your proof,
Right?
dog?
It's true. It's true.
It always, the reason why I say that is it always ends up turning into an objective morality thing and everything. Like, because, like, I feel like he always does this thing where he's like, but you have no morals. It's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking about? Yes, we do.
And you cannot say that God is bragging because he's the only God, when earlier he says in the Bible that there are other gods. I'm aware there are other gods. I am just the only one that you should worship. He doesn't say there's no other gods. That's something y'all came up with later. God tells you there's other gods. He inherited you from another God, the God Most High. Yahweh is not the God Most High.
He's
Yeah,
not.
I
He's
think
actually,
Django is Captain Crush Out.
oh, that explains so much. I think he is too. Because they both do that same thing. Oh my gosh. I was just gonna say, for any Christians that are listening to this, I highly encourage you to read texts about Baal, like the Enuma Elish and things like that, because you're gonna find that a lot of Yahweh's attributes were assimilated by Baal, and they came from the same pantheon, and they were both warrior storm gods.
Wait, I thought Lemmings were just a computer game. I'm not talking. Were there real lemmings? Were lemmings a real thing? Did you guys see the comment? It says that they didn't fall off a cliff. They were chased by the cameraman in the documentary. Oh, there's a oh.
Guys, my cats are stressing me out. One of my cats is thrown up in 4 different places. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And I think that the reason why is because they like to eat things that they shouldn't. I mean, that's like so many different animals, but they like to
Yeah.
eat bits of carpet, bits of like their cat toes, pieces of plastic, and I'm always being like, stop doing that! Ah! Yelling at
Oh, my
them.
cats do it all the time. It's so freaking annoying. It's like, what are you doing? Stop. And you have so much food. Go eat the freaking food that you
We buy
have.
you
Why
expensive,
food? Go eat the freaking food that you
we buy you
have. Why?
expensive food. We're not feeding you fucking gruel.
God.
I buy you that
Who-
expensive cat food for their like they're older cats, so they have individual health conditions, so you have to buy them the expensive cat food. And I'm just like, I know you're eating good. Some days you eat better than me. Why you gotta do this? Why you eating shit you're not supposed to?
I know. Why are they doing it? What is with them? You guys, I made a funny meme video, and okay, I don't get a lot of views on my regular videos, and I don't care. It's okay. It's whatever it is. I'm not one of those people who try to figure out the algorithm and when to post and who should I be targeting. I don't. I just make shit put it up, get the 200, 300 views, and go about my day. I do not care. Because to me, I more enjoy going live and just interacting with you guys and talking and hanging out. I don't really care about that. But I made a funny meme video, and it's the most viewed video that I've ever had. It has over 100,000 views right now, and it's just so funny. It's my second to the last video. Not the last video is funny too. I mean, if you know me, you'll get the joke. But the one before that I made, and it's that guy from like Cops or whatever. I think he was Cops, where he goes he's like, so be ready. So keep your eyes open. So be ready, and be ready to be ready. I mean, like, he says it so many different ways. And then I put Christians for the past 2,000 plus years trying to like scare us into thinking Jesus is coming back or something like that, you know? Because it just reminded me of all the Christians who come up here like, be ready, he's coming.
I'm obsessed. All right, my friends. Well, I gotta drop. My husband put on one of my favorite shows, so I'm gonna go watch it.
All right, have fun.
Have
Have a
fun.
good day.
Bye.
See you later. Make sure you guys are following Bree. She goes live too, and she's so sweet. I love her.
Oh, yeah, I actually liked that video when you were in between lives because for whatever reason I didn't want to put your screen up. Um, and I just think about like we've been playing this cat and mouse game with Jesus for 2,000 years. Why has Sky Daddy taken so long to get these fucking cigarettes and eggs? Like, come on, you were supposed to be right back. The people in that time thought that you were going to be back literally any day. It said in the scripture that some of them wouldn't even taste unalivement, and it's been more than 2,000 years.
Yeah.
They're all gone. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and what are they going to do in another 1,000 years? Are there going to be just people just figuring it out that, well, maybe he's not
Well,
going
the
to come back?
apologetic I've heard for this is actually this is gonna blow your guys' minds because I've heard this a couple of times. You know that scripture that says that a day to God is like 1,000
Yeah.
years? Well, I've heard
Yeah.
them say, well, that's what the Father's doing. He's mirroring the 3 days that Jesus was unalive. So it's gonna be another 1,000 years before Jesus comes back. But we need to be ready.
I've heard so many stupid apologetics. First of all, they don't know that because God said nobody knows the hour of the day. The Christians who come up and try to tell me things like, well, it's going to be another 1,000 years. You don't know that. God told me you don't know that already. So you don't know that. And then they'll say, oh, it's going to be April 28th. Again, you don't know that. Your own God tells you that you don't know that. What the fuck are you even talking about? But I've also heard Christians say that he will not come back until all of us believe in him. Now that doesn't make sense. That's not that's not biblical either. What are you talking about? So they just make up anything they can to cope with the fact that he hasn't come back yet. And they're going to keep doing that until nobody believes again. But unfortunately, I think there'll always be somebody who believes. Elijah FFO2, whatever the hell that means. Girl, only fools and those who love evil and sin will support you. I want you to look in the camera right now. I mean, I'm looking in the camera right now. Look at your phone right now, Elijah. Jesus said, anybody who calls somebody else a fool is in danger of a fiery hell. You shouldn't call people fools. You just put yourself in danger, friend. You want to go to hell? Call me a fool? That's weird.
What's your proof, love? What's your proof?
Matthew 5.
Yeah, thank you. I love it when they don't know their Bible. Oh, by the way, you guys, if we do get somebody up here today, I've already told Robin this. I don't know that the rest of you know this. For now on, I will appease them. When they ask for the King James Bible and they do not have their Bible with them, we're going to help them out by reading the New Revised Standard Edition, but we're going to add all the King Jamesy sounds to it, and they won't know. They
Oh
won't
my
know the
God.
difference.
Hast thou
Now,
readest thine book? You're
right,
gonna
we
add
will
all of the
know. And
oldness?
so we're all, yeah, it's going to be the Queen James edition. We'll all know. We'll all be in on it, but they won't know. Okay. So I'll go like,
The
ye
queens.
are my king and my God. Ye commandeth victories for Jacob. Through ye we push down our foes, through your name we treadeth down our assailants. For not in my bow do I trusteth, nor can my sword saveth me. That's how we'll read from now on.
And they won't even know.
I don't even know.
I
They don't
actually
know
have a
now.
KJV like that with the Old English, and I know it sounds bad in church. Whenever I was in church growing up, they would alternate between Bibles. Whenever they were up on the stand and they were giving a sermon, they would use the KJV, I think because they thought it sounded more authoritative for some reason.
Yeah.
This is like a phenomena that exists in many different churches. It wasn't just the one that I was in, where they will use this
Oh no.
old style English because they think it's like closer to the original or it has like some sort of magical properties. I don't know. But then when they would actually talk about the scripture, they would flip to a totally different Bible in regular English so they could go over the text.
It's so ridiculous.
My King James Bible is pressing flowers right now because that's the only thing it's good for.
Hey ho, thank you. It's so cute. It's so cute. I should like pet it or something. It's so cute. Crystal, do you see my message on it? No, but I will check. I'm so sorry. I started to bring up YouTube and then I got distracted. That's what ADHD does to me. Oh, are you on the Deconstruction Junction or my channel? Oh, it still says upcoming. Why does it say upcoming? I don't know how to do these things. I'm looking on Deconstruction Junction because apparently it has to be there. I don't know where your comment is. I see like a lot. I don't know. Do you want to tell me on Discord? All religions were created to control the weak-minded through fear. I don't actually believe that, by the way. I don't think that all religions were created to control people. I think that most religions originally, like the original. Oh, okay, that's what you were saying. Okay, I'm going to see if I can start it real quick. I think I remember what I have to do. It'll take 1 second. But I do want to start getting things up on here.
Respectfully, Doctor of Logic, there are religions that exist that have no compulsory deity of worship, sometimes no deity of worship at all, and sometimes even no afterlife claims. So I have to respectfully disagree. I encourage you to look into other Eastern traditions because there are plenty of Eastern, what we call religions, but I mean, it depends on how you define religion. But Confucianism, Shinto, Jainism, Buddhism, those are all non-theistic religions that have no compulsory worship. So they're not based or oriented in fear or consequences of you not following their traditions. In fact, they have a kind of open practice where you can take it or leave it. So yeah, you do, I mean, like, I'm a Buddhist myself. I'm also an agnostic atheist. Those aren't conflicting at
I
all.
don't know
And
if it's working.
if people want to pick up something from Buddhism, they can. If they don't want to, that's on them. You know, like I don't. It's not that deep. I
Yeah,
think your beef is with Abrahamic religion specifically. And I find, the
yeah.
problem with saying "f you" to all religion is You're also saying F you to the Buddhist monks that were walking around for peace. You're saying F you to all the people who don't have harmful fringe ideologies.
I don't think that people understand there are several things. One, you can have religion without a God. People don't realize you can have that, right? And there are many religions that don't harm people. Like Jainists don't believe in harming anything. Like, go look into that. They're very extreme on how passive they are, So anyway, thank you, Tahir. I appreciate you so much more than you realize. Anyway, once I figure out why the auto start didn't work, Tahir, I think I have YouTube fixed for right now. But for some, and I had it enabled, so now I have to figure out why it didn't auto start. That's the only issue now I have to figure out. So that's what I was gonna say. Like, first, I think most religions started because it was God of the gaps. Like, they didn't understand things, so they put a God in there, right? And then I think that, yes, there are, religions that were about control and stuff like that. But I think it's wrong to say that all religions are for that reason and that reason only. I don't believe that. I think religions start for a myriad of reasons. I do believe that, I believe when I was a Christian, I wasn't a Christian because of control. I really believed that, I was indoctrinated. So I believed, because I was taught, that the message was about love, that this God was about love. And I am actually a loving person. So that's what I wanted, right? It's just that as I grew up and learned more and more about the religion, my mind sat in cognitive dissonance too much. I realized that I wanted to be loving. I wanted to be a good person, but this religion more and more didn't seem to actually be about love. And then one day I finally was like, oh, I think this is like it's just as fake as the other religions, and it has bad messages. They're not good at loving messages. I think many religions are used for control. I just don't think they all start necessarily because of control. Like, for instance, I think if you ever watch a story about Jim Jones, at least for me, when I watched it, and I grew up in the era where he lived, I think he started because he really cared about people. But a lot of times power corrupts, right? And so as he realized how much power he had over people by being their clergyman, by being their pastor, whatever, it corrupted him. And he ended up, like in religious psychosis and in a very abusive relationship with his congregants. But I don't think he started out going, hey, I'm going to be a pastor and I'm going to take advantage of everybody and stuff. I think he originally started because he believed that he was going to be a pastor and be a good person and stuff.
So you just don't think he was prepared for the feeling of power that he had, and it took over
I don't think he was.
Like he
Yeah,
didn't
I
have the
think that
maturity to.
I think that there's a lot of pastors who do that too, because I've watched. Ah, thank you so much, Mr. G. Johnson. I appreciate you. I think that a lot of people, you'll see it, okay? let me shrink it down in scale for you, okay, Jerry? You will see somebody in chat who is the nicest person in chat. They'll be wonderful. Maybe you'll be in chat with them for months. And then somebody will make them a mod. And then suddenly their personality changes as a mod, right? Like, and then after a while, like, haven't you ever seen a mod who is just heavy-handed and you're like, you're just a fucking mod for a chat. Why are you being so serious about this, right?
Yeah.
Or you're just a mod on Reddit. What are you doing? Or you're just a mod in a Facebook group. What are you at? Because they got a teeny tiny bit of power. And it just gets to people's heads. They're like, It's weird. It's very weird, but
Is
it's
it
something that
like,
happens.
yeah, I totally agree. My daughter had surgery and I had to ask my brothers and sisters to help me with some of her medical expenses that I wasn't prepared for.
Hmm.
Um, just like little things that I just didn't know was going to be so expensive. And my brothers and sisters just started sending me $100 here, $300 here. And I had this feeling of, oh my gosh, all I did was ask them one time and I'm getting all this money. And I just immediately told them all, hey, y'all have given me way more than I'm going to need. Don't give me any more. Like, this is it. My goal was 500 and that's, but that's not what churches do. They
Mm-mm.
just keep collecting and keep grifting and keep saying, well, we have this project. And um, they love the most gullible people. I used to do that. I used to go to church and they would, talk about some project they had. And I felt like obligated to give money. And I didn't really have much to give. And I'm
No,
sitting here giving money that I really need for my bills.
right?
And they're not going to give
It's
that back to
really,
you.
they're not going to give that back to you. You're going to be sick one week and you're going to need help. You go to your church and they're going to say, oh, I'm sorry, honey. We could put you on the prayer chain.
Prayer
Want me to write
list.
you down on the prayer chain? I'll put you on
Yeah, I
that,
call that the
okay? But
gossip
they're not
chain
going to
now.
help you. It
Right.
is a gossip chain.
And
Yeah.
It was
there's a
totally.
spoiler alert for any Christians that might be listening to this that actively go to church. They intentionally put off fixing that shit because if they say that they need a new roof or they need new windows or something like that, and it's an ongoing thing that you're reminded of every single Sunday, and you can visibly, especially if you can visibly see that it's damaged, then that's something that you will weekly feel inclined to donate for that specific thing. A lot of the times when they get the actual money that they would need to fix it, it goes back into the pastor and administration's pockets. They intentionally pocket that money because if they said that they just wanted more money, you wouldn't give it to them. They need an excuse for you to keep donating, and they intentionally put off fixing stuff so that you will continue to donate.
And I
You know
did. I kept doing it.
how many churches have a building fund? Like, we just want to build a new building. We're going to get a new church, or we're meeting at this place right now, but one day we're going to build a church. So we have a building fund. Okay. When are you going to start building? Where's the building? Why hasn't the building started yet? My sister passed away when I was 12 years old. She was hit by a drunk driver, and she was very involved in our church. And so the church took donations when she passed away to build a new youth room that would be devoted to our youth group. It never happened. There's no Linda youth room in that church. Peter, if God is love, why don't you come up and talk to us? I'd love to talk to you about that this morning. We haven't had a believer. Well, we had Django, but I don't know. Like, that's just really a crash out. I don't know.
But what was your proof, love? What was your proof?
But
That is so funny
yeah.
every time you say it.
Wodenson over on YouTube, you have found the perfect place, okay? This is a place where you should be imbibing and having a cup of coffee. I am the person to imbibe with and have a cup of coffee. What are you guys all talking about over on the YouTubes this morning? Nobody's fighting over there for me to share with you guys over here. If you are a believer and you want to come up and talk, the guest box is open. You know, one of the people from YouTube came over to TikTok, sent me a DM and said that he wanted to like debate me, but he can't join like my TikTok live because you need 1,000 followers. I said, no, you don't. That's a very old rule. You do not need 1,000 followers to join a live. And he said, well, you do now, starting today, or something like that. And I just ignored him after that. I was like, if you wanted to join, you would join. Like, I have people come up with 0 followers all the time. You do not need 1,000 followers to join TikTok.
A 1,000 is extreme anyway. Like, it's hard to get 1,000 followers. How would you even go about doing it? Like, you can't just be new to TikTok and get 1,000 followers unless you pay for them.
No, I think that when I first started, you needed 1,000 followers to go live like I'm doing right now, but you only needed like 50 or something like that, or maybe it was 5. I don't know. It felt like a lot to join a panel, but they changed it, and you don't need to have a minimum amount now. You can join a panel. You don't. Yes, to start your own live, there might be a minimum still, but to join a panel, there's like no minimum anymore.
I think the minimum
He's
to
full
start
of
your own
shit.
live is 100.
See, it's not 1,000 like it was back in the day. I had to have 1,000. You had to have 2,000 if you wanted to play games and go live. I remember that. I was like, why? How come I need 1,000 to talk but 2,000 to game? That's weird. Oh my God, Anthony, that would be amazing if somebody bought the churches and turned them into affordable housing.
Oh my gosh, I've actually seen that happen before. There was this church in a town that I used to live in, and they turned it into a small apartment building. And it actually was really nice. It was really pretty. Now, I don't know if I feel comfortable being there, only because, like, okay, so I had actually been in that church before they turned it into an apartment building, and like when you walk around on the floors, you hear the and so I was like, I don't know how stable this building actually is, but yeah, I like that. There's this famous nightclub in New York City. I think it was called the Limelight. It was originally this big old Catholic church, and they turned it into a
Ooh.
nightclub. That's also
Oh,
sickening.
how
They'd
fun.
have they'd have like these vampire nightclub rave things at this old church. It was sick.
So Doge Scout 5868 over on YouTube says, "What is sin?" If you're talking in the biblical sense, sin is considered missing the mark. Now, if you are Jewish, that that doesn't hold the same connotation as it does once you're a Christian. So in the Christian belief, missing mark is doing anything at all. Even your thoughts could be sinful that you feel goes against God's law or against God's will. And that can be different for each person, because God might be telling me that I can't have sugar anymore. And if I have sugar, I may sin against God. But you might be okay to have sugar because you're not having an issue with sugar, right? So he might be like, you can eat all the sugar you want. But Crystal over here, she can't have any more sugar. And when she does, she's sinning. So it just depends, Yeah, it depends on how you believe in your God.
Yeah, from like a Jewish standpoint, it's transgression of the Mosaic law, whereas from a Christian standpoint, it is a lot more broad because once Christianity has entered the picture, and now we're talking about thought crimes. So even you thinking about stuff is missing the mark.
That
The
really fucked
re
me up as a Christian. That fucked with me so hard.
Yeah, one of the most difficult things for me to just deconstruct at the beginning of my journey was this idea that I wasn't constantly being watched and there wasn't this being that was able to read my thoughts constantly, because that was part of what made the deity so scary, was
Yeah.
knowing that nowhere was safe and that people have intrusive thoughts and they can't control them. You can only control your thoughts to a limited extent. So if I have an intrusive thought, that meant that I was sinning, and I was sinning in my mind. Whereas, and like an OT perspective, you would have to physically actually do the action in order to have sinned.
Wow. Somebody said over on YouTube, nobody can know the will of God, but that is not biblical, okay? And so I know that Christians like to say that, but let me give you some verses to counter that, okay? Ephesians 1:9. He has made known to us the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure that he set forth in Christ. So yes, you can know the will of God. He tells you he has let it be known. Psalms 25:14, the friendship of the Lord is for those who fear him, and he makes his covenant known to them. John 7:17, anyone who resolves to do the will of God will know whether the teachings is from God or whether I am speaking on my own. I'm sorry, let me read that in the King James Version for everybody, okay? This is the most updated. You guys might not have this one, but here, try this one. Anyone who resolveth to doeth the will of God will knoweth whether the teachings is from God or whether I am speaking on my own. Okay, so that makes it like more real because I just said it like that. So it's even more serious now, okay? Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind so that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. So yes, as a Christian, you should know the will of God. To say that you don't means you don't really know your God.
You know, I hesitated to say this earlier, but whenever you were talking about the people who claim to hear God's voice that unalive their families, um, part of me, like, you can only do that, you can only believe that if you believed in Jesus. And my reason for saying that is because Jesus can appear to people in the form of like visions and all kinds of shit like that. He doesn't really, but like people can believe that.
Right.
Whereas like if you read the Bible, when God the Father talks, he has this loud, thunderous voice that's terrifying. So you're not hearing from the Father because that's not possible because he has a voice that shakes shit, and makes things tremble. He's got a voice like
Right.
thunder. So you're not hearing from the Father. And as far as I know, the Holy Spirit doesn't say shit. So yeah, like the only way that you could possibly believe that God was telling you
No, the
that is
Holy
if you did believe
Spirit
in
says
Jesus.
stuff. The Holy
Oh,
Spirit
it
says
does?
stuff. Yeah, and he moves you. He can make you do stuff too. He can like possess you
Yeah, I'm
because that's what
familiar
he
with that,
does
like
to Judas
Samson.
Iscariot and
Hmm.
Judas Iscariot. Well, no, Satan does Judas Iscariot. Satan does him. No, yeah, there's Samson, and then also God says any like prophet who like says something, I sent a deceiving spirit to them. So, like when a prophet deceives you, the, God sent the deceiving spirit to deceive the prophet to deceive you. It was like a game of telephone that went wrong, but right because God made it go wrong on purpose. I don't know. These are just stupid things they believe.
Yeah, they do believe in some nonsensical stuff. Um, Nineba 182 started this whole thread in the chat because they said that people can control their thoughts after what I said about people not being able to control intrusive
No, they
thoughts. And now
can't.
there's a quarrel going on in the chat now about arguing whether you can or can't control their thoughts. And the
Okay, let's
example
see if
of
we can control. You ready? Okay, everybody, do this right now. I want you to control your thoughts right now. Ready? Absolutely do not think of a pink elephant. Go. You know you just thought of a pink elephant when I told you not to. You know you did. You know you all thought of a pink elephant after I told you not to. Also, you all lost the game. Yep, I did that to you too.
My reputation to that, Crystal, is what's your proof, love? What's your proof?
You stop. What did Granda say? What did Granda? No, oh, not if you have OCD. That's true. Obtrusive thoughts are horrible, man. I hate that. I watch. Like, do you ever go to like? I'm sorry. I have so many alter egos, but I have my alter ego that is a 24-year-old, guy that hangs out on Reddit. Okay, so I like to go to Reddit and scroll. And I watched this dad, those big exercise balls that you can bounce on? This kid was like laying with his back on it, and he was like kind of just like bouncing a little bit with just his back on it over a tile floor. And his dad turns around and looks at it, and he kicks the ball out from underneath his kid, who, of course, slams hard into the tile floor. I mean, the dad immediately picks him up. You know that he immediately realized, like, what in the hell did I do? But his intrusive thought just, like, took over. People have intrusive thoughts that they can't control. Now, I usually can control the actions from the intrusive thought. I'm not saying I can always. Sometimes I might throw something at you, or I don't know. But I won't knock a ball out from underneath my kid his head and back hit so hard on that floor. It was horrible.
Let's hypothetically say I'm trying to spark a lighter and it's not working, and I go, shoot, my lighter is unlived. I can't use it anymore. If somebody throws me a lighter, I don't think about catching it. I just catch it. It's instinctual. That's
Yeah.
another aspect of this is sometimes we just do things out of instinct. If we
Oh,
see
yeah.
that, there's a fire or something like that, some of us don't think, should I run into the fire and save the kittens? They just think, oh my God, kittens. And then they just run in there. They don't even think, oh my God, kittens. They think fight or flight. They immediately just jump into action.
Exactly. I am one of those people that I will do, it depends. There are times where there is an emergency, there's a situation, and I am the fucking superhero in that moment. I am calm, cool, collected, and in just a flash of a second, I can figure out everything. And there are other times where you would be so mad at me because my husband has had to deal with this, where I can't speak or I can't even say what's going on. I'll be like, he's like, what are you trying to tell me? And meanwhile, of course, tragedy is happening because I am not able to even verbalize what I am trying to say. I remember a couple times where I'm trying to warn him so we don't get in a car accident. Luckily, he sees it in time, but I couldn't get the words out to say semi-truck or whatever, or hit the brakes or whatever I needed to say. We joke because we go fishing, and he'll set up the fishing poles and he'll tell me when the fish strikes, just say fish on. Those words never come out of my mouth when those fish strike. I cannot verbalize what I'm trying to say. I'm like, duh, ah, bah, ah. He's like, is the fish on, honey? Is that those the words you're trying to find? So I'm one of two things: very cool, calm, and collected, or I can't act at all. I become frozen. I can't think of words.
Yeah, I mean, people can have one of four reactions in situations like that. They can fight, they can flight, they can fawn, or they can freeze. That's how I remember it is
Yeah.
the four Fs.
Yeah.
And admittingly, sometimes I would argue that the only one that you think about, you're actively thinking, is the fawn action. You don't want to hurt me. I'm just a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fawn one in which you're trying to charm your way out of a situation, that's the only one of those that you're actually thinking. The other ones are
Yeah.
instinctual.
Absolutely. It's funny to me because I will hear people say things like they're saying where you can control what you think or you could choose what you believe or whatever. And I feel like sometimes when you even explain it to them logically, they hear what you're saying. But then they start to fight back because they don't want to be wrong. It's not that they don't believe what you're saying. Like, I have tried to explain to people before, like, I cannot choose my beliefs. I don't choose them. My mind becomes convinced or not convinced based on whatever information it has at the time that I learned something. And I could pretend like I believe something. I can tell you I believe it and act like I believe it, but I will probably not really believe it. I'm just lying to you or whatever, or you're making me, tell you I believe in something that I don't believe in. And you can tell like that they logically understand what I'm saying, but then they try to fight you on it. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'll prove it to you right now. I want you to believe that I'm the queen of the world. And they'll go, okay, I could believe that. No, you can't, you idiot, because I'm not. Your knowledge outweighs anything. You cannot make yourself believe. You could pretend that I am. You could pretend that you believe it, but you can't make yourself believe that I'm the queen of the world because you know that I'm not. And they'll fight, and like, I don't know what it is about fighting until you win. I don't get that. You're not going to win on that
Well,
one anyway.
what I think, yeah, I mean, I think I would have pushed back too when I was deep into the religious teachings, because
Yeah.
I thought it was pleasing to the Lord to believe without seeing. I thought it was more blessed because I believed without seeing. I thought that was, somewhat admirable, I guess. I thought so I just became more and more gullible. So I think when you're really deep into it, that's a pretty advanced thought for them to grasp.
Yeah, that might be
Because
true.
yeah, because it's a progressive teaching. So you would have to kind of they would have to actually be open to learning something new, which, if you tell them that and they've never heard it before, then they're just going to be like in shock because they've never heard
Yeah.
that and they just can't grasp it. But so I don't know. I always try to tell people my testimony and how I kind of came out of it and the things that got me to thinking. And I just feel like that maybe when they're not on the live anymore, that maybe they'll think about that and the seed will grow. So, but yeah, I think it's their ego a lot of times for some of the people, because they will argue till they're blue in the face, no matter if there's 5 people on the panel explaining it 5 different ways. They can't grasp the concept at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Musa, we are talking about the God of the Bible. If you are a believer of the God of the Bible, feel free to come on up. Thank you guys for the 37,000 likes and for the 158 shares. That's amazing. Thank you for all the gifts and for hanging out with me today. I'm sorry we haven't had any guests today. I could change the background, but usually if this doesn't get them up, not much will. I'll change it in a few minutes and we'll see if we can get them up on something else. But I see you guys are having lovely conversations over on the YouTube. Doge Scout 5868, I can tell you that the God of the Bible is evil based on what he says is an abomination to him, and then he does those things. And I don't have to show you moral objectivity to show you that your God is evil according to his own words. There is no moral objectivity anyway, but that's not the argument that I'm giving. The guest box is over here on TikTok. If you want to come over and join us, just come on over on TikTok and look for Critically Crystal J or Crystal J and you'll find me.
Out of curiosity, Crystal, are you familiar with Ian? here in the decon
Yeah.
community on TikTok.
Yes,
I've been
he's been
I
on my show.
Oh, he has? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, I've actually I need to maybe maybe message him or maybe find one of his videos, but he does interesting stuff. He actually believes in objective morality, but
Yes, he does.
how he explains it is very different
Hmm.
than I'm capable of articulating it. But it does rely on I guess I wouldn't call it a precept, and he probably would do a much better job of explaining it, but it's based around this idea that if you believe that morals are a human construct as the foundational premise for objectively deciding whether morals are good or bad, and you have to also presuppose that people are agents and other things like that. So um, yeah, you can definitely argue from a atheistic, humanistic point of view that objective morality exists. Unfortunately, I'm not as philosophically savvy as he is, though.
I will tell you, Trust But Verify also argues for it, and he uses the laws of logic. It's almost the same argument as Ian's. It's just a little tiny twist on it, and by using the laws of logic. And what he basically says is that if we're all agents, and if you believe that because you are an agent and you have the right to prosper, basically, and whatever that looks like to you, then anything that would deny another agent that would be immoral. So you can't go, oh, unaliving is morally gray, like unaliving somebody in the schmurder way is morally gray because it's subjective. He would say no, because you would be hindering somebody else from prosperity by ending their life, right? So therefore, that is objectively immoral. And I hope I kind of did it a service. But if you ever want to hear it, Trust But Verify does it too, and he also does it better than I am.
Funnily enough, I had a conversation with my brothers on the phone the other day. We were just shooting the shit. One thing led to another, and then the topic of whether or not we thought morality was objective or subjective came up, and I was like, wow, I usually don't have this conversation with people who are agnostic or atheist. I usually have this conversation with believers on TikTok. Um, and so we just started
Yeah.
talking about it, and yeah, so they were actually really surprised that I was like, well, funnily enough, I have heard atheists, humanists, agnostic folk argue that there is such a thing as objective morality, and they were very taken back by that.
That is, I was too when I okay, because the first time I heard it, Robin, was because of Ian, but it was like you're gonna laugh at me. I was in the Discord and somebody goes, I want to hear Justin and Ian debate objective morality, and I said, why would they debate that? Like, don't they both agree? And then they were like, no, Ian believes in objective morality, and I was like, what? That is crazy. So then I had to go listen to his argument, and it is really good. I'm just not very good at articulating certain philosophical arguments. I do want to say there's conversations going over on YouTube, and for some reason, wait, did you guys have to mute somebody? Did I miss it? Where did it go? Moral arguments coming from atheists put the cart before the horse. That one just cracks me up. What are you talking about? You can't even have a moral conundrum without an objective moral framework. And you can't have an objective moral framework without God. Okay. You can't. You need a God because you have no morals.
I mean, I'm Buddhist and I can rely on that as a moral framework, and I can also argue my moral framework is older than yours and better and superior to yours in every way.
There you go. Yeah,
And I
tell
also
you,
don't
you don't
believe in a
even have
God.
one with God. And it's funny, like I really like watching different creators tear apart the objective morality issue. But man, the other night, Joel and Mezzo were live. It was like Mezzo's live, but Joel was just cooking this guy on it. He was, and the way he just laughs, like it just, I wish I could just stay all calm and just kind of laugh and roll with it the way Mezzo and Joel do too. He's just, what are you talking about, dude? You have no morals. In your moral world, it's okay to grape women. It's okay in your moral world, okay? In our moral world, it's not. And then you're going to call moral superiority? That's wild. And I can't do it.
The
I usually
morals are
get too
stuck in the
hot-headed.
Bronze Age. And that's part of the problem because unlike our phones or electronic devices, they update. The Bible doesn't. That book is forever
Yeah.
stuck in ancient history.
Hey,
This is
think
so
about it. Welcome
sad.
to the show. Can I get your
Uh,
age for TikTok purposes?
I'm over 35.
Okay, and are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
I am a believer of Christ, yeah.
Okay, we're talking today about God is evil, and it's based on the fact that he tells you what is an abomination to him, and then he does those very things that are an abomination to him.
Oh, I'm sorry you believe that. I really am. You're
Oh, I'm
missing.
not. I'm sorry that
No,
you
you're.
don't realize that
I
he's
know you're
evil.
not, but I feel sorry for you. Believe like that because
I
at
know, and
the
I feel sorry for you, so that's
no,
kind of
because at the
mutual.
end you're gonna find out that that's not true, and then
And
that's for
here's
your
the thing, you're
family and
never going to
yourself.
figure it out, and people are going to continue to be harmed because of your beliefs.
No, it's the other way around.
Yes.
Let me ask you something. What good comes out of people that don't believe in Christ? What good comes out of them?
Have you seen
We
Scandinavian
learn.
societies,
Wait, hold
atheistic
on a second.
societies that are better than ours in every way?
I asked the host. Excuse me. I asked the host.
Excuse me. Think about this is Robin. She's my co-host, and she's allowed to speak. You don't
Okay,
get to
so
tell her not to on my show.
okay.
Go
Well,
ahead, Robin.
you're
What were
rude
you
on
saying?
top of it.
Excuse
You're rude
me.
on top of it.
Excuse
Goodbye.
me,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry.
You're being rude.
Oh my God, that was fast.
That was a crash out Karen, y'all. Crash out Karen.
I was about to bring up, you know, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland. Those societies are all atheistic. More than 80% of them do not believe in a God, and yet they have universal health care, a universal basic income. All the companies that are there are virtually all worker co-ops. So when you join that company, you own a small percentage of that company and you get to have some of the benefits of that company's success. Those societies have free education, including higher education. So you get to go to college. And that you could argue that those societies do much better than us comparatively in many different ways, and they are completely atheistic societies. Yeah, you know what? They do have a Christian population, but they're the minority. And those countries historically used to be Christian, but now they're not. And you
Yeah.
know what? Them not being Christian is what has made them so prosperous because they took those old ideas from the Bronze Age and threw them in the fucking trash where they belong.
That's just not true.
Marcus, welcome to the show. Can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Yeah, 24. So do you know that the first...
And are you, excuse me, I'm still asking you questions. Are you a
Okay.
Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
I am.
Okay, and what are your pronouns?
He, him.
All right. What did you want to say?
Well, the first university that was ever made was made in European Christendom. The Enlightenment age of thinking was a deistic...
What does that have to do with what Robin just said? Because
Well,
Robin never
Robin
made
said
any
that
claims
the
about
advancement
that.
of civilization was based off of repressing Christian values,
Robin
Christian
didn't
society.
say that.
That's just
Robin
not true.
didn't say that.
That's
Robin
the
didn't say
generalization
that.
I made.
That is not what Robin said. Do not come up here and straw man people, okay?
I'm not straw manning. Well, Robin,
Yes, you are.
can you clarify what you said then?
Yeah, sure. I was saying that while the people of Scandinavia in particular used to be Christian, they are now an atheistic society. and they are better for it?
I think that there are multiple factors that go into play of why Scandinavia is doing good, and I do not think that the shrinking Christian populace is a majority factor. I think you're conflating the idea of that.
Okay, so what evidence do you have of the contrary?
Low crime rate, low immigration rate, higher social welfare programs because
How
the
do you know that
population.
doesn't have to do with them being atheistic?
Why would it? That, like, do you hear yourself? Low immigration, a low crime rate, like their
No,
population
low
isn't
crime
ever
rate was probably
expanding.
because they're atheistic. You know that white
Okay.
Christian men
Yep.
commit most of the crimes, right?
Sure, I'm sure that's true.
Yeah.
We have the demographic for. So you think that every white Christian man that commits
Is that what I said? I'm really tired of your straw manning with those
I'm not
words.
strong. You said white
Yes,
Christian
you
men
are saying
perpetuate
Very
every.
violence.
dishonest.
I never said every. Stop using inflammatory language, sir. I never said every. Stop doing that. If you can't
So-
repeat what we said exactly the way we said it, quit trying to repeat what we said.
Can you positively substantiate the claim that a lot of white Christian men perpetuate the crime that you said? That's your positive claim. Can you substantiate it
Yep.
with evidence?
I sure can.
Okay, thank you.
Give me 1 second.
For the record, the majority of the people in the American prison industrial complex are believers in the Abrahamic God.
Excuse me. And given the context of the conversation, can we please apply it to the Scandinavian countries that we're using as a control group? Because I think that would be extremely relevant.
That's interesting. We could certainly do so. I'd be interested to see what the religious percentages of the different groups are in the Scandinavian countries, but I feel like it's going to be majority. You know what? We'll let the results speak for themselves.
I just think that a practicing Orthodox person that actually follows their faith and follows the customs and practices of their faith, obviously you're going to have some outliers in
You have a
every
lot of
group.
caveats in there.
Obviously you're going to have outliers in every group, but I feel like if you actually follow the faith, then you shouldn't be committing any sort of violent crime.
Right, because
Violent
you're going to
crime at
appeal to
all.
a no true Scotsman fallacy in that. Because they're not
Yeah.
practicing Christianity to your specification, so they're not real Christians.
Well, if you're not Catholic, you're not a real Christian. That's how I see it. I mean, Catholics are.
So I was right. So unless they meet your specifically super niche criteria of what a Christian is supposed to be, they're not a Christian.
Well, it's
Oh.
not niche criteria. I mean, the sola scriptura and the sacraments, I think, are prerequisites to become to be a part of the faith that Christ told Peter to start. I think you get like kind of a pass if you're Orthodox, Eastern Orthodox, or Ethiopian Orthodox, but I don't think any Protestant faith is actually of Christ.
I know, because you're special. You've got the special Jesus.
No,
Because Jesus said, "Be Orthodox." That's what he said. Yeah, those were in the red letters.
did you hear what I said? That's not what I said.
I know.
That is a straw man.
If she wants to talk, you should give her permission first.
You're allowed to talk now. Go
Oh,
ahead.
thank you. You guys are so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
you
you
are.
get the fuck off my show, you cunt.
Okay.
Oh, you're
Go ahead,
old.
drop
What? You're
down.
old. You're an old loser with no
I
religion. It's
never even
okay.
fucking called you a cunt, you retard.
I feel honestly
now
bad
you said
for
a
you.
word that really
I don't care.
actually gets you
You're-
booted. We don't use those ableistic terms.
Oh, look at that fruit of the spirit using ableism. How righteous
See,
of
I
you.
crash out too much. I can't stand that little. I crash out too much. I'm telling you, I crash out too much. I don't care if you called me old. All you say when you call me old is that I should be dead already. And that means that you hope that you die young or something. And that's a weird thing, that you think people shouldn't get old. That's really weird to me. That is very weird. Hi, Diane. Can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Hi, yes, 53.
Okay, hang on one second. Marcus, you think I'm 50? Oh my God. I love you. That is so sweet of you. Thank you. That was really kind. I'm sorry, Diane. Are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
I hope it's okay. I'm just up for a really
No, go ahead.
quick thing. When I came in, you were talking about objective morality, and the other night I was thinking about this because I find the whole objective morality thing just so ridiculous. Like it's a weird hill to unalive on for them. It feel like it's because they have nothing else. So I came up with this as a possible prompt for myself, and I thought I'd share it with you. So
Yeah.
this is what it is. Objective morality is only superior subjectively. Therefore, morality is objectively subjective,
Oh, wow.
right?
That's wonderful. I love that.
So,
Wow.
Okay,
so I
we
thought I'd
all
share
need to
that.
write that down.
Do you want me to say it again?
Okay. Somebody type it in the chat for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's objective Here, do you want me to write it? I'll type it in. I'll drop and I'll type it down in
Yeah,
the
that would be.
comments.
Oh, okay. Well, Diane, thank you. That was
Thank you,
really good.
Diane.
I am so glad you came up, especially after I just crashed out and called somebody a bad name. Like,
I'm a fellow old lady, apparently, so you know. Okay.
I love old ladies. Thanks for
All
being
right,
here.
thanks.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
I'm talking about, Chica, I'm talking about the God of the Bible. If you are a believer of the God of the Bible and you want to come up, I promise I won't call you a cunt or your wife a cunt. I don't know, like his whole, first of all, I am not into orthodoxy bros. Like, I hate the no true Scotsman fucking bullshit and the way he kept straw manning that. Like, he was grating on me the minute he got up here, you know? And I need to somehow calm. I have to do something. I have to find something to calm me down. Because I was trying to look up the studies. And he was over there just, nah, 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 nah. Just give it to me. Oh,
And
Chica,
then his
come
wife
up.
in the
I'm not
background.
talking to you, chat. Yeah,
I love how they say hate watching in the comments too.
I know. I know. I love that too.
We don't need to go, baby. We believe in things like therapy and medication for our quote unquote coping. You're the person who needs to believe in an imaginary sky daddy to fix their problems for them.
Yeah, and that's what led me to deconstruct because I got so tired of people telling me that I was born a sinner. Because I really could never grasp that, but it made me feel like I was a bad person.
You know, funny
Yeah.
enough, you technically can't be born a sinner because
Right.
in order to, for a lot of reasons, firstly, if we're going to go based on definition, you would have to be in covenant with that God in order to sin against it. If you're not in covenant with that God, you cannot sin against it.
Right. But I was raised in the Church of Christ and, they were baptizing babies because they were sinners.
You guys, I want to read what she said one more time so you guys, I don't know if you saw it or not, but it says objective morality is only superior subjectively. Therefore, morality is objectively subjective. That's fucking deep, y'all. Okay, bye, Chica. I don't care. Like, I don't know why they like announced they're leaving. Like, are we supposed to cry when Christians are like, you're not arguing with me the way I want, so I'm leaving? No, I don't care. Leave. If you're not going to come
Hasta
up
la
and talk to
vista,
me, I don't care.
chica.
Leave.
Bye.
Well, Diane, that's another reason we like you. She was elevated when she thought of that. And that's when some of the best thoughts come to us, right? I've got lots of
Yeah.
stats for you. But I'm not giving them to
Funny
you,
enough,
Marcus, because
I
you're
was gonna say,
a
oh, sorry.
twat. No, go ahead. Go
I
ahead. I'm
was gonna,
just bitching.
I was gonna say, and I think I've talked about this a little bit on here before, but they used to use, I'm not sure, Mary Jane resin to make incense that they would put in the Holy
Mm.
of Holies. And so,
Oh,
the
yeah, I
first
have
fact,
heard that.
yes, and a good source for that, if you guys want a credible one, is check on the Smithsonian website. That's a reliable source that I highly recommend. Anyway, yeah, so it was common for priests in this era during the first and second temple periods to live very short lifespans. And part of the reason why is because they would do a lot of derugs. So imagine this, imagine fasting for 7 days. And then when you break your fast before you're going to enter the Holy of Holies, you eat something called showbread, which is bread that has been exposed to a fungus that causes hallucinations, and then when combined with strong beverage on an empty stomach, becomes even more intensified, and then you get put into a small room the size of a closet, and then that room gets filled with incense smoke and resin smoke. They were getting high with the most high. Okay? They were hotboxing that Holy of Holies, and I bet they really did think they were talking to God.
Wow.
If you guys are curious, though, there is something called showbread in the Bible. This was very much a real thing that existed in Greece and other parts of Turkey, the Levant area, this thing called showbread. Basically, there were these fungal spores that, when harvested and made into bread, would have a psychedelic transcendental reaction to
Yeah.
the people who consume it. So if you fasted for 7 days and the only thing that you ate breaking your fast was a combination of wine and this showbread, that would have already been a trip in that of itself. When you're being deprived of oxygen in a small space being filled up with resin smoke and incense, you're gonna trip balls.
Yep.
I mean,
Marcus, it's in your Bible. If you don't know that your God tells you what he thinks is an abomination and then he does those things, it means you haven't read your Bible. I'm going to give you guys some information now. According to the FBI's Uniform Crime Report, 69.4% of all individuals arrested in the United States were recorded as white, making them the largest group by numbers of arrests for crimes overall. The FBI, UCR data and arrest statistics consistently show males are arrested at much higher rates than females for most offenses. And a Pew Research Center 50-state survey of prison chaplains found that chaplains estimated about 2/3 of prisoners in the U.S. prisons identify as Christian. So what did I say was the largest demographic for crimes? White Christian men.
and what's
The
the church's
statistics are there.
response when this happens? The church's response is, well, they just fell into sin. Let's forgive them. Let's pray.
Marcus, I don't give a fuck if you requested Scandinavian countries. You did that after I already was searching, and you kept adding caveats. And like I said, first of all, I don't take orders from you. Okay? I don't know what you know your wife does. That little twat next to you, she takes orders from you, but I don't.
But Crystal, we don't know if that was his wife. That could have just been his hoochie
Yeah.
mama.
It could have been, it probably was.
Oh, like the couple that got called out when they got their picture taken at the concert and it wasn't his wife.
If it is his wife, what's your proof, love? What's your proof?
You
Yeah.
You think that crime rates are low for some obscure reason. My thought is because they're atheists, that's why their crime rates went lower. You were making it seem like the crime rates only are low if you're Christian. I'm showing you that that's not true, sir. That in a Christian country, crime rates are high and perpetrated by Christian men like yourself.
Well, it's funny because I don't know how we would definitively say whether or not any part of Europe improved or uh, got worse if his criteria for what a Christian is so slim anyways. Because he was
Right.
trying to narrow the margin of what he considered a Christian so much to the point where it became this arbitrary thing. Because he was doing a no true Scotsman fallacy. So in his eyes, if only Catholics can be Christian,
Oh,
and
Orthodox.
only Catholics that
Orthodox.
oh sorry,
Right?
if
He's
only if
Orthodox. He's
only
Orthodox.
yeah, which I feel like the EOs are some of the worst Christians on this platform, but that's a whole other thing. Anyways, yeah, if only Orthodox are real Christians, and even then, majority of the Christians are pretending, then at this point, no one's a fucking Christian anymore. Only you're a Christian. Is that what you wanted to hear? Congratulations, you're the last Christian on earth. So when's the end gonna start? I'm sure he feels very special, very powerful, very magical being the last Christian on earth. Well, I'm sorry, him and his hoochie mama next to him.
If you really want to know what analysts think about Scandinavia and countries like that, they feel that what happened was economic security with strong social safety nets. That means they took care of their people. Okay? Once they had those in place, less people found a reason to believe in a God. And therefore, their decline in their belief in God diminished because they realized they were fucking doing everything, pumpkin. They were feeding each other. They were helping each other. They didn't need to
A
rely on some
really
invisible sky daddy.
a really interesting correlation that I have found is typically societies that are more educated are less likely to be Christian. And I don't think that I feel like that's for a particular reason. If we look back to the biblical times, even when it says in the Bible, they were a very anti-intellectual cult. They wanted people who were uneducated to join them. There's a reason why your pastors and clergy, they don't want you to go to college because the more intelligent and educated you become, the less likely you are to believe in Mother Goose's book of fairy tales because you will know better. You'll have an outside experience. You'll start to have questions like, "Oh, well, snakes don't have vocal cords. How could they talk? How could there be a talking
Yeah,
donkey? Why are there unicorns and dragons and all these and sea and giant sea monsters and all of these things in the Bible? Because this doesn't make any sense. It's because it's mythology. It's not meant to be taken
yeah,
seriously."
exactly. Um, what's Oh, Marcus, you're claiming that it has to do with immigration. You're so stupid. Your God is pro-immigration, Old Testament and New Testament. Your Jesus was an immigrant. Your Jesus was an illegal immigrant to Egypt. Hey, Truth, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
Yeah, I'm 22.
All right, and are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
No, I just wanted to say I really appreciate what you're doing. You're doing like such an amazing job.
Thank you. That's
And
very sweet. Thank you.
of course. And I just wanted to say you're like 70 years old and you need to get the fuck off TikTok because you're an old fat bitch. Oh my god, you're
Oh, did
so
that make
fat
you
and
feel
old.
better?
You're an
Did that
old
make you
fat
feel good?
bitch. Oh, get off
Are
TikTok.
you,
You're about to die soon. How about you go to a nursing home, huh?
You know, you might
You're
die before me.
70.
Did you ever think about
You're
that?
70.
Oh, am I?
Get off TikTok. Go look
You
after
think
the
she's
grandkids.
You think she's gonna?
Go look after the
I
grandkids.
fucking look great for
Go look
70.
after
God
the
damn. I
grandkids.
look
Crystal's
so
the most snatched
my
Go
70-year-old
look after
grandkids
the
are
ever.
grandkids,
amazing.
fat bitch. Go look after the grandkids,
This is the
fat
fruits of your
bitch.
spirit, right?
What
This is
kind
the
of
best you
skincare
got.
do you
Why
Go
would
have?
look
anybody want to
after the
join your
Not
Jewish
grandkids, fat.
Crystal.
You're
apocalyptic death
fat,
cult?
you're old,
Let me
and you
show
have
you.
no man. Fat, old with no man.
I'm married, you fucking
Oh,
idiot. For 30
I'm sure
years.
your husband
about
hates you.
her.
I'm sure your husband hates you.
Does it make you
Your
sad to know
husband
that
is
he doesn't?
your husband is in a very sad
He is
relationship.
so
I bet he
jealous of you,
cannot
Crystal.
stand
Oh my
you.
god.
I think he's
I
jealous.
love how you.
I think
I
I
love
he's
how
can't
you think you know
imagine to
anything
be.
about our lives.
Could you imagine being 22
Go listen
years
to your
old and
husband.
instead
Go
of
listen
getting
to your
laid,
husband, fat
you're
bitch.
on a live
Go
yelling
listen
at
to your
a
husband,
woman?
fat bitch.
Like that is
You're
all
fat
Imagine
you
and
being
have
so
in your
old.
pussy
life?
deprived
Get off
that you do that.
TikTok. You're fat and
I
old. This is
can't
for
imagine
young
when
people.
you know what all
This
the
app
guys
is
that
for
I knew when
young
they were
people.
22 year, they would not have given a
This
shit
app is
about
for
this. They would
young
have been out
people.
getting
Get
laid,
off
hanging
of the
out,
app. You're
having
old.
fun.
Don't you have like
Why
social
does it make you
security
so
to go
mad that
apply
I'm
for?
here? Does
Don't
it
you have
make
to
you
go
so
apply for
You're
mad?
social
young.
security
Does
This
it
is
or
how
piss
you're
you
something?
off
spending
that
the
I have
prime of
more
your youth.
followers
No,
than
it's
you?
just like it's
Does it
pathetic.
piss you off that people like gift me money to
No,
be
I
here?
don't
Does
care.
that piss
It's
you off?
pathetic. It's
Obviously, you do
pathetic.
care.
That's
You
so
have to
Obviously,
admit
Because
to
we're
me, right?
your
laughing at
life must
you.
You've
be
been
You're
so
saying
Obviously,
it
sad.
you
You
do
yeah
have
the
care.
whole
no
time.
you have
I
no
think you
intrinsic
care.
value,
You
so
could
your
be
You
value is
Sound,
measured by
listening
the
from
gifts you
Truth
get on a
Divorce.
virtual
I
imagine
love
platform.
being so
value that
jealous
you
of a
cared and came
snatched
up here.
70-year-old lady.
You have low self-esteem, low intrinsic
Oh, I
value,
seem so.
and it's
She's on
I
camera.
measured
Where's your
by
face?
this is what's so
You
funny. It's
camera.
measured
She's
by how
not
much
secure.
gifts
She's
you
70
get.
years old according to
You're
you.
over
She's on
here
camera looking
attacking
snatched.
Christianity
You're in
every
the prime of
opportunity
your
you
youth,
get.
sweetheart, and this
It's
is what you do when you
boring.
can't get any pussy. You're a
Christian
fucking
hate
loser, and
is
this is
so
pathetic.
boring.
Oh,
It survived
so bad
2,000
because I'm a
years.
Christian.
It's gonna survive another 2,000 years. It's okay.
to tell
It's
He's
people
not that.
it's
He's
okay.
never coming back with the fucking
It's
cigarettes and eggs. He's
okay.
never coming
When
back because
you
he
go to
doesn't
hell,
exist.
when you go to hell, I pray
You're
God has
crashing out,
mercy
dude.
on
You're
your soul.
crashing out. Truth.
What a
Christians, I
fucking
hope
Crashing
you
loser.
out,
realize
I
dude.
pray God.
he just said, I hope you guys
Oh,
realize
now
that
he's
he
gonna fuck
just said
God.
Jesus is never coming back. Jesus is never coming back according to truth. He's so upset. You're so angry. It's okay. Don't be
Keep
so
spam muting.
mad.
Keep spam muting. I hope
Calm
God
down.
has mercy
Calm
on your
down.
soul. I hope God has mercy
No,
on
Don't
your
you
soul on the
I
day
trying
don't
to
of
be
think.
like
I
judgment.
burn
don't
in
think
hell,
you
you
do
little
hope
bitch?
that.
Yeah, you
Because on
don't.
the day of
That's just
Truth
judgment,
Christianese
giver.
for
I
fuck
don't think
on
you
you.
the
do
day
hope
of
that.
judgment,
You are
whenever
such
you
a
find
fake
out that
ass
you're going
bitch.
to
It's
be
fucking
eternally
pathetic.
separated and you're going to
I'm so
have to pay for
Yeah,
the
scared.
great.
consequences of
That's
your
awesome.
Oh
actions.
No one wants to be near your
I'm so
It's
fucking loser
okay.
god, dude.
It's
We
okay.
want to be
You call him a
separated. In
loser
fact, you
God,
can get the fuck
you'll
away
be
from us.
begging
We
for
don't want
another
anything to do with you.
opportunity to
Hey,
repent.
Uncle
You will.
Jerry. I
Oh,
don't know if
On
you're
yes, we're
the
seeing
day
begging.
of
this.
We're
Did
so
you
judgment,
scared.
you
We're
miss?
will beg
shaking.
for
I
Oh,
mercy.
saw
no.
And I pray for all of you genuinely
And
that
I
God bestows
pray.
that
Oh,
mercy on you, that you can have another opportunity to
your
repent.
prayers don't do
But
shit,
I don't think
loser.
God
Get
hears your
fucked.
all of
prayers,
you
This is
have
dude.
this
sin.
opportunity while you're alive, and what do you do with your
I
free
don't
will
think
and your
God has the
time?
This is
technology
how
You
to
you're
hear your
attack.
spending the
prayers
limit.
through
You
space.
attack
So this is
it.
how you're
You
spending your limited
attack
amount of time on
Christians
life as you
because
come
it's
up on TikTok
easy.
lives to call people
You
old.
attack Christians
This is the
because it's
best you got.
easy. Where's the Islam lives? Where's the Jewish
We
lives?
talked about
Where's
them
the
too. You
Hindu
never know.
lives?
You're never
I
on
don't
our
see
page.
any
You
other
wouldn't know
lives
because
why
you
in
don't.
is
organized
Boo
religion
hoo.
except Christians. This
Boo hoo.
why is Christianity easy? Because it's so stupid. Is that
how
what you're trying to say? Your religion is so
how
fucking stupid. That's what makes
how
it so
evil is
easy
your?
for me to tear it apart every fucking day because you little men of
That's a
God
straw
are
man.
so fucking scared. You're so fucking weak. You're such little cowards. Oh, so this is that bitch and that man again. Marcus had to come back on a different fucking. That was Marcus and his his fucking little bitch ass wife again. Oh my God. You guys, that was
What a
Marcus
loser.
and his little bitch ass wife. Hey, bitch.
His hoochie mama,
How
as I
come
like to
you're
say.
too weak to get up here? Because he won't let you talk? He won't let you be on the live? So
Have your
he
wife
can
come up.
only
Let's cook
talk?
her next.
Yeah, have her come up.
Guess he didn't give her
That's what
permission.
I said. Your hoochie mama.
Yeah. Get your
Have
hoochie
her come up
mama.
and have her show a ring, because otherwise I'm just gonna keep calling her that. She's your hoochie mama. What's your
I'm not letting
mom?
you back up, Marcus. Go get a fucking life. Why are you guys so angry? Because your Jesus is a loser and he's never coming back. You already admitted that he's not coming back. You've
To
already
hear him say it
shown
might be
that.
another 2,000 years. Like, oh my God, that is so telling.
That is so telling. Get the fuck out of here. But you guys, I want to play a couple songs for them right now. First of all, we're going to start with the song, okay? Because he can kiss my ass.
Miss me, now you gotta kiss me. You're up my sentence, call it just a thought. Say you love strong women till you get caught. You want a queen who keeps it light and sweet.
This 70-year-old has a really good skincare.
Yeah, you're misinformed, misguided, mistaken. And that charm, boy, I know you're faking. Me with that misogyny. You ain't the man you think you be. Miss me with that hypocrisy. Your fragile ego and royalty. I'm misbehaving and just being me. Miss me with that misogyny.
I know, he had to raise it up to 70 because he realized how wrong he was at 50.
But all I see is you begging for respect. You rate our bodies, dismiss our brains, then cry not all men again. Miss me with your tone, miss me with your sigh, miss me with your sweetheart. Boy, bye, bye, bye. Miss me with that misogyny. Don't need your fake apology. Miss me, can't you see?
I'm the star. You're just an extra, Marcus.
Miss me with that misogyny. Misogyny.
You know what? You know what is really telling about that is really sad for Christian women. Like I'm being real serious right now. Is I hear these Christian men come up and objectify their wives all the time, and the wives just sit there and take it. Like right now, he just keeps talking about how my husband probably doesn't have sex with me and about my body and everything like that. And if their marriage is based on that, can you imagine how the slightest thing that may happen to whatever he finds beautiful about her, he's gonna lose like love for her over that, and she's putting up with that by being married to him. The fact that he thinks that the most important thing in our relationship is our sex life shows me that he has no idea what a real healthy relationship is built on. I've been married to my husband for 30 years, and I'm going to tell all of you who are in relationships out there right now, I want it 30 years, and it was not always easy. We fought. There were times where we wanted to give up sometimes and stuff, but we're right now where we are at and where we're probably going to be for the rest of our lives because we reached this long, right? Is we're really happy. We really love each other, and we can't imagine ever spending one more minute on this earth without each other, because like we've been a team this whole time. We've been best friends. We've lost and we've laughed and we've loved, and it's been an entire journey. Sex was just one minute part of all the things that I've been through with my husband. It's just been a very small part. it may have been a very big part at the beginning of a relationship because you feel that attraction, you feel that fire and stuff like that, but it's such a small part compared to everything else about our relationship. And the fact that that man is whittling his entire relationship down to her just being a sexual object to him is so sad for her. It is so disgusting too. And she's gonna sit there by him and be all like, oh, he's such a good man of God. It's sad. It really is. Oh, well, Constant, you're always welcome up. I hope you know that. DH is a minor. Glenn, are you saying that DH is a minor? I don't want to bring him up. Hey, Rich, I'll bring DH up, but I need to know your age.
Crystal.
Hi, Rich. How are you? Let me get DH's name.
Fuck you,
age real quick.
bitch. Fuck you, bitch. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Fuck you, bitch.
Okay.
Jesus
Bye,
Christ, I
child.
rebuke you in the name
Bye,
of
child.
fucking nigger.
Bye, child. Bye. Okay, can
Such
somebody
beautiful
block
terms of
DH now?
endearment.
I know. I've had so much love today, Rich.
I felt so warm when he said that. It felt so good.
Yes,
That's the
the
love.
fruits of the spirit.
That's the
That's
love
the
of
best Jesus has
Jesus.
to offer. Yeah, there's no hate
They
like Christian
will.
love. Hi, Rich. I think it's been like, oh my
How you
gosh,
been?
it's been good. I'm trying to think of the last time I was on a panel with you at the same time. It
It's got to
may
be
have
at
been
least
summer of
4
last
to 5,000 years in Jesus'
Wait,
years.
I have to say something. I have to say something funny. He says I'm atheist, by the way, after just rebuking me in the name of Jesus.
You can't make this shit up. Oh my God. Yeah, I was just gonna say, Rich, I think I was last on a panel with you summer of last year, and it was on Me's Live. So it's cool to be up here with you. Hi.
It's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah. I mean, I actually listen to you more often, and I'll be, you know how it is, like, you can see who's live. Sometimes I'll even see that you're live, and I'll be like, oh, well, I'll go to this live.
Yep.
That's how you find new people on here.
Yep, that's for sure. So I'll mute and see what the bait brings in.
Okay, well, I'm probably not going to be live much longer. Actually, usually end this live in about 2 minutes. The only way I stay is if we meet our gift goal, and we haven't met it today, and that's okay. Yeah, he said he's an atheist after he rebuked me in the name of Jesus several times, which is really weird. Because can atheist men come up here and cuss me out? Yes, that might happen sometimes, right? But usually they don't rebuke me in the name of Jesus. So, I don't know. Truth giver. It's okay, though. Don't worry about it. Your pastor begs for gifts every Sunday, and you hand them over to him, no problem. I figure I educate people, too, so it's okay for me to ask for gifts. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, and on Sundays, we do Decon Q&A with Crystal J. I do want to promote some things for you, by the way. I have an album out. It's called Ex Parte, and it has it's my Deconstruction album, and it is everywhere you stream music. Also, you can listen to Auntie Sermons, AUNTIE, on everywhere you listen to podcasts. And Auntie Sermons, we decenter men and we ask women to take center stage, and we go through all of the women in the Bible. So make sure you check out Auntie Sermons everywhere you listen to podcasts. Did he say F Jesus? I don't remember DH saying F Jesus. I just heard him saying
He didn't
he
say
rebuked
that. He
me or
said, I
something.
rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I thought he said.
I thought he said F
The
you, not F Jesus.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
thought he
see
said
his
F
full
you.
username, but the gentleman that just joined us that says I am Lay, if you pull up his profile, I've actually
Mm-hmm.
ran into this guy before on other lives, and sir, if you can hear me, I strongly encourage you. This is not me joking, I'm being very serious right now. I strongly encourage you to please check yourself into some sort of mental health facility. Um, I worry about you and the people around you. I'm afraid that you may accidentally, indirectly, cause injury to yourself or others. For those of you who don't know, this man literally thinks, not joking, not exaggerating, that he is the Holy Spirit incarnate.
No, it says it in his username, but I can't find him now. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. I am Leah Halton, husband, says, I am the Holy Ghost. I am who is God. So, yeah, we will not be bringing them up. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. You guys, I want to thank everybody for being here today. Who cares what your wife looks like? See how you're objectifying here? That's fucking weird, dude. You guys, am I the only one who finds it weird that he's sitting here telling us like his wife is fit and perfect? The fuck is your problem? That's weird.
She's probably a doll.
And then he says to me, I'm an old dry uterus. You're objectifying women, you fucking weirdo. I am more than a uterus. I'm a human being.
So
You
stupid.
weirdo.
That says how much you respect women. You know, and what should we expect from Christians? Like, this is the fruits of your Holy Spirit. This is what you think. Like, you really think it's okay to treat people like that? How very Christ-like of you.
Ladora, your boyfriend goes around commenting on your body to a bunch of strangers. Okay, then your boyfriend's a fucking weirdo too. The fact that you guys don't think that people commenting on your body is weird means that you actually are an internal misogynist. The fact that you don't realize that you are more than your fucking body shows that you have very low self-worth. Hey, Mac of the Fleetwood, how are you today? Well, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up for today. I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. And I hope that you guys have a much better day than we had alive here today. Robin, thank you so much for joining me early and often.
Thank you for letting
Jerry,
me
thank you for
I love being
showing
here.
us your
Thank you.
cows.
Yeah, that was
And
cute.
Rich, thanks for joining us. I'm sorry it was late. Hopefully you can
It's
join us
okay.
one day when I'm on earlier, okay?
I
Because
don't
I
feel
have
I don't
missed.
feel I don't feel unloved. I don't feel it. I don't feel unloved.
Oh,
I
I
just don't
do
feel
love you.
Rich.
By the
I'm
way,
following Rich.
Rich and I used to cook Christians together on African Atheist Live all the time, and I do miss that. We
Yeah.
had some fun. So you have to come back and cook
I
some
will for
Christians
sure,
with me this
Krista.
week, okay?
And great to
follow
see you
you,
All
guys.
right.
Bye-bye.
It's good to
Great
see you.
meet
Good to see you
Godwin,
too,
good to
Rich.
see you. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Go read Trust But Verify or Zename or whoever's
to be healed and live a prosperous life, right? To be healed and have a prosperous life. And he was speaking to a specific church when he was saying that, right? The apostle was praying for Gaius' health and prosperity, as well as it's displaying the healings of Jesus Christ, right? That's